Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto is Sona brother. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content, and do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. So you're the one who stole my trap potion? Well, isn't this a surprise? You look just like an alternate reality version of me. Naruto the perverted potion prankster stated as he looked a smaller version of himself with the trap potion that he had invented for shits and giggles, as well as researching how traps can appear so feminine in all things. He was curious where his trap potion went, so he used his magic to rip open a portal to where the potion was, and here it was. How did you find me? Well, you are in the alternate universe that Middle gave birth to, so I have easy access to it, all things considered. Did you think I wouldn't notice the new universe bubble experiencing vast stability and growth? Naruto the PPP asked as he looked at the silver-haired version of himself. He crossed his arms with a slight grin on his face, as if he said something obvious. There was a pause. Currently, they were standing on a street corner. That makes no sense. I can't be tracked. I didn't track you. I tracked the potion you were holding. So, mind explaining what your goal is with the potion? Is it fun? PPP asked as he looked at Skew, who thought about it for a moment, before he grabbed his notepad and wrote down the answer. You enjoy traps? I invented a trap potion and made a clone of myself have sex with a trap, so I do hold more affection for traps than most. You plan to turn somebody into a trap, so what kind of universe is in here? PPP asked as he looked around. A universe where your parents were able to have you without major genetic manipulation. Mom and dad are alive here. PPP gained a slightly saddened look on his face, but also a very happy smile a moment later. Genetic manipulation, huh? Only minor genetic manipulation in this universe, so they were able to birth you and survive. Cool, so is this why my universe is currently frozen in time? PPP asked with a raised eyebrow. He had noticed that his universe was in a state of frozen time, with everyone but him unable to move or think. Since he was able to think, he just kept thinking and thinking, until he got the idea to try and find his trap potion while opening portals to other universes. He succeeded. Change your hair color. PPP put his hand through his hair and transformed it to the color black. Energy drinks for sale. Oh, you little devil, I love this idea. PPP instantly understood what Skew was doing when he saw three people running down the street. Kushina Uzumaki was in front, a beautiful red-haired woman who maintained an extremely youthful appearance despite being close to 40 years old at this point. She didn't even have a single gray hair on her head, and she had a fair skin with a slight peach color to it, the very slightest of it. She was wearing workout gear on. Minato Namikaze was in the back, slightly tired from a long run, and his looks aged slightly. He had a couple of wrinkles around his eyes, but otherwise he was extremely youthful for his age as well. He had worked up a sweat, a pretty heavy sweat for that matter. Finally, in the middle, was Naruto Uzumaki. Couldn't be more than 16 years old. For PPP it was like looking at himself back in time. He wasn't as well built yet, but he was certainly athletic for his age. Bright blonde hair the same color as his father's, and blue eyes the same color. He had his mother's face for sure, and his body build was more similar to a male version of her build than his father's build. Wow, I guess whisker marks are all the rage these days. Kushina stated as he jogged by. Lucky you, Naruto. Kushina slowed down when she read the sign, and she walked up to it with a smile on her face. I'll take an energy drink. Kushina passed over some yen coins. Skew waved off her money and just gave her the drink. Strawberry please. Minato stated, and he was given an energy drink for free as well. You two kind of look like me, I guess I'll have one too. Naruto stated with a bright and cheerful grin on his face. He was given the trap potion instead of an energy drink. He drank it down like his parents with their drinks, before they threw the bottles away and started to go back to jogging together. When they were out of sight, Skew looked at PPP and gave him a questioning look. It activates after a small delay of about 10 hours, and after 24 hours without the antidote, the effects become permanent. This is going to be hilarious, PPP stated as he showed off the antidote. He smashed it on the ground. No more antidote. You're damn right, this is too funny. If you ever need more potions, you come right to me, and I'll give you whatever you need. I wonder if the potion will have any effect on his mind. I hope it does. PPP laughed when he thought about the chaos that could happen. This was too funny for him. If you couldn't laugh at yourself, then what was the point in having fun? He is going to suffer humiliation. Fuck that me, he's got his parents to support him. The way I see it, he needs to suffer a little to make up for the fact that he lives such a blessed life. I would gladly become a trap if it meant having my parents alive. PPP stated as he rubbed the back of his head with a small sigh. This is going to be wait, so does that mean Asia is in this universe too? PPP asked with a raised eyebrow. Skew nodded his head. PPP opened a portal, and he walked through the portal. A second portal opened and PPP came back out with a grin on his face. There, now that little issue is fixed all up. Little devil bastard isn't going to be able to ruin her life. Also, do you think I'll become a pervert in this universe? PPP asked with a small curious glance. We're Narutos, of course we're perverts deep down. Good point. Well, while time is still frozen in my universe, I'm going to go shove my fingers up everyone's asses, and see if they feel it when time turns back on. PPP opened a portal back to his own universe, leaving Skew behind to look at him with a raised eyebrow, quite confused. This was the first time an alternate Naruto that wasn't MWTT had ever tracked him down and followed him during frozen time, even more so through such a strange method. Now that he thought about it, he hadn't seen Man with 10 tails in a long time. Skyu's eyes widened for a moment when a stray thought entered his head. MWTT did it. He actually did it. He reincarnated into a new Naruto, a Naruto from a different alternate universe. He reincarnated his soul into the body of PPP. Damn it. Years and years of work to create the Philosopher's Stone, the ultimate form of alchemy. A level of alchemy that could be considered reaching into the divine to perform the ultimate transmutation. Minato had worked most of his life towards this goal, and nearly all of his notes on the subject were failures where he didn't even come close to creating. He was 9th rank alchemist. He was the highest rank that could be obtained in his craft. He was a professional among professionals, to the point that he knew that if anyone could achieve the completed version of the legend, then it would be him. He had created life before. What is the big deal about this stone again? Eternal youth, the ability to turn any metal into silver, gold, and platinum, and transform crystals into rare crystals. It's the path to infinite wealth and youth. It's also capable of being an amazing magical focus, the best magical focus. Minato explained once more to his impatient wife. It was nearly impossible for him to get her to understand. She was a potion maker. Where he was a 9th rank alchemist, she was a 9th rank potion crafter. She could make potions that almost reached into the territory of God. It was through the combined efforts of their crafts that allowed them to conceive their child Naruto. I just don't get why there are potions that can grant youth, and if you live long enough, you'll get tons of money eventually. Kushina couldn't see the point behind it. She was currently going over the notes that she created for her newest potion. A potion that would allow, well, it would be best not talked about even in her own mind. After all, potions that focus on necromancy aren't exactly well accepted. Kushina muttered to herself. She was reaching into forbidden territory. Was that Naruto screaming? Kushina asked as she blinked. She looked at Minato, who was slightly confused as well. Naruto's voice did have a slight feminine quality to it, but that scream was far more feminine sounding than they had ever heard their son sound like. It was hard to believe that sound could be their son. Minato? Kushina asked. They heard the sounds of stomping as somebody started to come down the stairs and towards them in a hurry, and they shared a glance. The door burst open. Jaws dropped. What did you two do to me in my sleep? I told you my body is off limits for experiments, adorable Kushina whispered as she looked at Minato, who had dropped his coffee on the floor in shock. Their son had physically changed. He was now visible shorter than before, and his body was visibly thinner and more feminine, his muscles now about as large as a woman's muscles. His pajamas didn't fit him properly, so he was holding his pants up with one of his hands, and his top was hanging off his shoulders. Kushina! Minato shouted at Kushina. You said you weren't going to make Naruto drink your potions in his sleep anymore. Minato snapped at Kushina instantly when he realized that Naruto was under the effects of something strange. You turned our son into a daughter. Minato pointed at Naruto as he stood up. Kushina looked stunned. I didn't do this, you did this, and you want to put the blame on me. You used transmutation alchemy to transform his body, obviously. You stayed up all night last night, it had to have been you. Kushina pointed the blame right back at Minato, the finger of blame pointed in his direction instead of at herself. I stopped experimenting with him once he hit puberty, since strong hormones and potions don't mix well. Kushina even explained her excuse for why it could not be her. There was a pause for Naruto as he looked between the two of them, and he looked down the front of his pants. I'm still a boy, actually. A trap, you turned our son into a trap. Kushina and Minato pushed the blame on each other. That was the only explanation that could possibly make sense. -5 hours later. Holy crap, this level of potion making isn't possible through modern potion skills. Kushina stated with her jaw dropped as she looked at the remains of the potion in Naruto's system. She was the highest rank of potion crafter, and this was beyond even her understanding of the subject. How much research went into this? No more than that. This potion takes all factors of outside interference into account. This is divine rank potion crafting. Kushina leaned back in her chair with her eyes widened in shock. Minato was bleeding from his nose. This isn't potion making, this is alchemy. But no, this isn't possible. Naruto's blood. Minato couldn't make heads or tails of this. This was alchemy perfection. Each and every one of Naruto's blood cells were infused with particles from a completed Philosopher's Stone. Naruto's very bones were showing signs of being infused with completed stones as well. This was divine rank alchemy. And even beyond that, since somebody had not only managed to create a fucking Philosopher's Stone, but also mass-produce enough of them to be able to infuse Naruto with so many of them that his body was producing a liquid version of the stone in his blood cells. Naruto's blood was liquid perfection alchemy. As he tried to observe it and analyze it, his brain couldn't comprehend what he was trying to understand. It was beyond what his notes could ever compare to, and he could only marvel in awe at the sheer complexity of the alchemy before him. Alchemy, this isn't alchemy, Minato, this is pure potion making. Kushina argued Minato. She started to get to work. So did Minato. The effects are becoming permanent. If we don't cure Naruto soon, he's going to stay like this for eternity. His body is producing eternal youth. Look at this. Minato put a drop of Naruto's blood on some metal, and the second Naruto's blood touched the metal, it started to transform into gold. Kushina stared at that. No, it's potion making. His blood is infused with the most complicated potion you could ever imagine. It's a multi-layered, multifunctional potion. Look at this. Kushina grabbed a puppy that she was saving for some experiments, and she put a few drops of Naruto's blood into its mouth. Minato watched with her as the puppy got larger, and it started to transform its body. Its front half became more muscular, while its tail transformed into a snake head, with bat wings growing from its body. This potion is so complex that any cure needs to take in order 1 million possible potion combinations in order to just begin to try and make a cure. We have to work together to make a potion to cure this. Kushina didn't know who did this to her son. This was some serious stuff though. Naruto's blood was eternal youth, monster creation, and metal transmutation. If they didn't cure their now trapped son, then all of the effort that they were going through to remain secret from magicians was going to go to waste. We need mom's help. We needed her help, but to combine potion making and alchemy together in order for you to give birth to him. Oh lord, this isn't potion making or alchemy, this is both. Minato lost all hope instantly when he realized that they didn't have enough time. Not just that. They didn't have enough time to fix this before the effects became unfixable and Naruto's body became immune to potions that could change him or alchemy to change him back. They did not have enough time to study what they needed to study, and the worst part of it was that even if they had the time, they didn't have the skills needed to do anything. Whoever did this was beyond their understanding. Even they, as the highest levels in their fields of study, couldn't even begin to comprehend the methods or the things they were looking at. Somebody had masterfully taken potions and alchemy, fused them together, and then proceeded to reach into the lands of the divine to create something that was so complex that it exceeded what the normal mind was capable of creating. This is the ultimate perversion of alchemy and potions. This perverted potion prank, Kushina whispered with horror. They failed as parents. I don't think I've ever seen something as divine or as perverse as this. Should we tell we have to move? Naruto's friends, they are normal people. They wouldn't understand Naruto's new appearance. We have to start over. We need to move to a new town. We need to keep Naruto a secret from the world of mages. Minato worked his mind into overdrive. He got out his maps of the many areas that they could move to. They had 3 options in Japan: Tokyo, Kyoto, and Ko. Tokyo because the high population would allow them to remain hidden, Ko because it was devil-owned territory which would allow them to easily blend in, and finally Kyoto because his adopted mother lived there, and they would have a strong support network. There were downsides to each one thing. Tokyo had a lot of secret mage societies because of the high population. Ko had devils in it, which was both a plus and a minus. And being around yokai constantly meant putting their guards up to make sure the secret didn't leak to the supernatural world, since some yokai could be spies for other factions. This Kushina killed the monster puppy with a knife to the skull out of pure frustration that she could do nothing to help her son. How fucking dare somebody experiment on my son? Kushina stood up and raged. You do. Of course I do. It's a potion crafter's job to prepare experiment on their own children to make them even better than other children. My father and mother experiments on me growing up too, but to experiment on somebody else's child. That's some fucked up shit. Kushina was a potion maker through and through, and though they didn't have the same morals as other people, she had her own set of morals. This crossed the line. I'm going to give Naruto the bad news. Minato got ready to go and tell Naruto the horrible news, that there was nothing they could do to help him. So, Mom, what is your opinion on all of this? Yasaka, a Kyuubi and the leader of the Kyoto yokai, also Minato's adoptive mother who supplied some of the DNA that was used to allow Kushina to give birth. So while she was Minato's adoptive mother, she was Naruto's genetic grandmother through and through, though he had only a small amount of her DNA. I think he's adorable. Yasaka was just happy. I know, right? Kushina had gone through many stages, but she had reached acceptance. She had accepted that this had happened, and her son was an adorable trap just waiting to be sprung on the world. He's so cute, he was always cute, but now he's girly cute. But all that aside, what is your serious opinion on this? Kushina asked as she shook her head, getting the cuteness aura out of her mind. Yasaka became slightly serious. He's my grandson, I'll still love him no matter what. Still, this could be a problem for him. He won't age, his body won't change. He has attained immortality and eternal youth. He will outlive all of his human friends. The world will abuse his blood when they learn the secrets in it. I don't know. Yasaka didn't have the answer to their questions or concerns. She could only say the kinds of problems that Naruto might have in the future. Minato shifted. He felt uncomfortable. We wanted to know if Naruto can stay here, in Kyoto. No. No? Kushina asked with Minato as the two of them looked at Yasaka with shocked eyes. Either of them had expected that sort of answer. Yasaka nodded. I'm connected to the ley line, and I'm always a target for attacks because of it. Visits and short stays are one thing, but prolonged stays here mean higher chances of certain yokai realizing his secrets. I love him, but it's too much danger to have him here with me for extended periods of time, too much incentive for evil people to go for both of us. Yasaka had a semi-good reason behind her statement as well. She looked at Minato, who looked away as he realized that she was telling the truth. Yasaka had assassins after her all the time, spies within the yokai who wanted her out of the way, and all it would take was one slip up and Naruto would be in far too much danger. He was still in the process of learning to use magic for combat, and neither of them were oriented for combat magic. Then, are of Ko or Tokyo, which do you think would be better? Why don't you ask Naruto? Yasaka asked as she looked at the silent Naruto. I don't care, just do what you want, it doesn't matter to me. Naruto didn't care at all. His magic was all out of whack from his transformation, his body and spirit were out of sync, so his magic was much harder to control. His magical reserves were still big, but they were being crammed into a smaller body, and the control he had built up over his training had been shot to hell. I can barely even win magic, the most I can do is healing, I don't care where we go. Naruto grumbled. Yasaka reached out and pat the top of his head. You'll become a great mage, I know you will. Don't let this get you down, but you do need to be careful. We don't know how much effect this transformation has on your mind. If you feel anything is different, please let somebody know. Minato, Kushina, I would like to go on a walk with Naruto alone. Can you keep Kuno company for me? Yasaka asked as she mentioned her youngest daughter. She wanted to speak with her grandson alone, and she stood up to go on a walk with him. When Naruto stood up, she looked up to look him in the eye, before she realized he was shorter than her now, and that his face came up to her chest once more. She looked down and she reached out her hand to hold his, but he just put his hands in his pockets. The pockets of his pants that didn't fit him properly anymore. Let's go on a walk and talk alone. Sure, minus 15 minutes later. I don't want to talk about it. It's pretty embarrassing to talk about changes in your body, be it puberty or turning into a female-looking male. Have you talked at all with your parents? Yasaka asked, her hand gently on Naruto's shoulder as she walked side by side with him. He didn't want to hold her hand, and he didn't want his hands to leave his pockets at all. Naruto was about to say something, before he shut his mouth. Forget about it, Yasaka frowned. You can always talk to me, you're my one and only grandson. Whatever it is you can't tell your parents, you can tell me about it. I won't make fun of you like Kushina will, and I won't be a worrywart like Minato. Yasaka promised Naruto. He still didn't say what he had been about to say, his lips remained tightly shut. Forget about it. I don't want. Naruto reached up and touched his throat, hearing the softer sound of his voice. Even my voice is cuter, Naruto whispered to himself. Yasaka just rubbed his shoulder and comforted him. As much as Minato and Kushina freaked out, none of them could possibly understand what Naruto was going through at the moment. They were all adults, but none of them had ever had this sort of change happen to them before. Kushina grew from a cute girl into a beautiful woman, and Minato went from a good-looking boy to a handsome man. Naruto went from a cute boy to a handsome man, but now he looked like a cute girl. This wasn't like the puberty all of them went through where they had awkward changes to them that made them feel unnatural. Naruto's change was actually unnatural to him. None of them knew the kind of stress he was under, and what kind of chaos was going on inside of his mind as he adjusted to physical and mental changes. Maybe you would feel more comfortable talking with somebody going through something similar? You're young, so maybe you can use the interwebs to talk with somebody. I hear it's easier to talk freely online than in person. There was Naruto wanted to call her out on not knowing a thing about the internet, but he didn't have the strength to do it. I just don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk to you, or mom, or dad, or anything about what's happening. Naruto turned around and started to walk away from Yasaka, back to the house. Yasaka stood still and took a deep breath. If you ever do want to talk, please talk with somebody. You don't need to keep it bottled up inside, it's not healthy. Yasaka just pleaded that one thing with Naruto. You have nothing to be ashamed of, because we will always love you. Yasaka continued as she turned around and looked at him standing still at the door to the house. Yeah, okay, yeah, you really are adorable. I've always loved your smiling face more than your frowning face. To me, you've always been my adorable grandchild. If I'm being honest, I think you look super cute. I love this new look just as much as the old look. Yasaka saw that he was being a little more open now that he wasn't looking at her. Yeah, me too, I'm so confused. Naruto didn't speak a word to Yasaka about what he was thinking though. He didn't tell anyone. He didn't even know how to explain his feelings, let alone what his own feelings were on the subject. Before he could talk with anyone, he needed to figure himself out first. He needed to know why he felt so conflicted, and he needed more information. He needed answers to his questions. Ko Academy. It was a devil-controlled school, which meant that a mage like him would be pretty easily accepted into that school. It was the safest school to hide a mage in plain sight, when in places like Tokyo where there were mages that could recognize what was special about him, he was in much more danger. Not to mention, since Naruto was a mage, this was his chance to find a good devil to form a pact with for mutual benefit. What kind of joke is this? It's not a joke, it's your uniform, wear it. Kushina stated as she held up the girl's uniform to Naruto. She had a bright smile on her face. My son is a super pretty trap, and there is no bigger prank in this world than a trap wearing girl clothes. Kushina stated with an excited smile. She loved pranks. Half of her potions were crafted with the intention of being used for pranks. She loved pranks just that much. She was sure that she would have eventually turned her son into a trap at some point for a prank, but somebody beat her to it, and they made the effect permanent instead of temporary like she would have made it. I should not have let you buy the uniform. Minato looked at the uniform. He was a serious man, and though he would have liked to see Naruto in the uniform, he would rather Naruto take school seriously and not treat it like some sort of prank. A mage needed to make a good impression on devils in order to form a strong bond with one, and later on make a good deal with them. This affected Naruto's future as a mage, and as his parents they needed to treat this seriously. Oh, don't pretend you don't want to see this too. Imagine Naruto. Think about how many guys whose sexuality you will destroy. You'll confuse them so hard. I bet some of them will jerk it with tears of blood streaming down their faces. Kushina had a demented laugh. She loved perverts, they had the best reactions to her pranks. One of her favorite things to do was find the most perverted person in a city, and prank the hell out of them for an entire month straight. She had a collection of blood that she took from perverts that she tormented to the point of exhaustion. Once she completely broke their ability to even care about her pranks, she collected their blood as it was in the perfect state for her to use in her experiments. Virgin pervert blood, filled with such high levels of hormones and frustration. I'm not a potion crafter, Mom. I don't care about tormenting perverts. I just want to study magic, become an archmage, and then take on an apprentice to pass my skills on to. Naruto had different goals than his mother. Tormenting people wasn't something he enjoyed, even if he did love pranks like his mother. He had no need to torment others to the breaking point. Kushina Uzumaki, chaotic evil Minato Namikaze, lawful good Naruto Uzumaki, chaotic good. If you were to place them on a chart, then that would be where they lined up. His mother was a good person most of the time, to her family, but she was still a mage at heart. She had almost no morals when it came to things related to magic, and his father balanced her out by being her opposite. He studied the science of magic, and for that he had aligned himself with proper research and study, using the scientific method as it was applied to magic. Oh come on, you like pranks too. Kushina wrapped an arm around her son and leaned in to whisper into his ear. If you do this for me, I'll buy you a book about 4th rank healing magic. Kushina bribed her son. She wasn't against such low methods. Kushina, we are going to have to. Deal. Naruto stated as he shook his mother's hand. But only if you throw in some 3rd rank holy magic books. Naruto shook her hand quickly, and she nodded her head with a knowing look. She only needed to appeal to Naruto's chaotic side. After getting dressed, squee, yes, I love this. You're so adorable and pretty, and cute, and amazing. I knew it. You might have your father's hair and eye color, but that pretty face is all mine. Kushina ran up to her son and wrapped her arms around him. She rubbed her face up against the top of his head and just allowed her hands to roam all over his uniform, fixing each and every wrinkle in it so make sure it was completely flawless. And I knew these panties were the perfect fit for you, nice ass on you. Kushina flipped his skirt and looked at his butt. She had a wide grin on her face. My son is too pretty, and he is way too easy to convince to do stuff. He's just as stupid as his mother is. Minato rubbed the bridge of his nose. Just offer Naruto some magic, and he was down. He didn't even think through what he was doing half of the time when magic was involved, which was why he worried about his son even before this transformation. The chaotic side he got from his mother flowed through him with fierce determination. This is so humiliating. Naruto broke free of his mother's grasp with burning red cheeks. I'm going to school now, so you better have those books for me when I get back here, Naruto stated as he pointed a finger at his mother, raising his voice. She just smiled and waved at him as he was leaving. Then he was gone. Pause. What is your real reason for this? Minato asked Kushina with a raised eyebrow. She became dead serious. I want to check to see what this trap alchemy potion does to his mental state. Naruto would never wear those clothes on his own, so I can't measure his reaction to them. I need to test how this transformation has affected his mind, but I need to push him into doing stuff that he would have never done before he was transformed. Kushina became serious, and Minato nodded his head. They needed to test their son for mental changes, but with how prideful he could be, it would take serious effort and acting on their part to get him to act as natural as they could. They needed to see if Naruto started to show other trap behaviors. And he's so adorable it would just be a total waste not to dress him up in tons of nice clothes. Yasaka even agrees with me. She's going to mail us any cute clothes that she finds as well. Kushina's seriousness was gone as her happy smile appeared once more. You're not worried this will have negative effects on him? Of course I'm worried, but he's immortal now. Kushina was serious again. Naruto was immortal and forever young. Eventually he was going to have to abandon humanity, and she needed to push him into that as quickly as possible to avoid him breaking. She needed him to push his own mental state as much as she could, that way once he realized that humanity had nothing to offer him, he could abandon it and join up with the forces that he could stand side by side with, people that could stay with him for a long time, much longer than any human he could form affection for. That way, even if he outlived them, he could spend so much time with them he could become satisfied by their time together. Only vampires and dragons shared Naruto's lifespan now. Only those who were already unaffected by the passing of time could truly stand by his side, and that meant that she needed to push Naruto's mental state further and further into abandoning humanity. With Naruto, I've been kidnapped. Naruto thought as his face showed irritation, his mouth covered. Naruto looked at the inside of the van, and saw a lot of adult men. They just drove by, grabbed him and pulled him into the back of a van, and started to drive off down the road. This should save me some time getting to school, Naruto thought to himself as he looked at his surroundings. 3 men, and 1 man driving. Naruto saw another girl was struggling as well, and he mentally sighed to himself. Outside of the van, they were speeding down the road at a normal speed. As the girl inside struggled with keeping her clothes on, Naruto activated some basic magic. A small spike of rock came out of the room and stabbed into the bottom of the van. The van flipped. There were screams as Naruto grabbed the girl and held onto her, and used magic to keep them safely in place. The three men in the back of the van didn't stand a chance though and went flying into the front window, slamming into the glass and shattering it, going flying out of the van, before the van itself crushed them to death as it rolled across the street. The driver was knocked out cold, but he was wearing his seatbelt so he stayed firmly inside of the van. Even when the van stopped, Naruto saw that the girl had fainted, but she had her phone on her. He used her finger to unlock it. "Hello, I would like to report a kidnapping and sexual assault. Yes, please track this cell phone," Naruto stated before he put the phone down on the girl's belly. He left the beat-up van and dusted himself off. Not a drop of blood on him. Naruto started to continue his walk to school, but he stopped by the driver's seat of the car and looked at some broken glass on the ground. Naruto opened the driver's side door before he reached up and started to use magic. Naruto put the man under a deep sleep spell. That way, he wouldn't wake up and run away before the cops arrived. Naruto didn't kill those other men on purpose, he would rather pay for their crimes. But the fact remains he didn't care if his magic killed them. They died because they didn't wear their seatbelts, and tried to kidnap and rape people. There we go, now he can't escape, I'll better get away. Naruto saw people walking on the side of the street were now starting to gather. He walked away with crossed arms, not caring about the attention that was getting drawn to the scene. They are so focused with the flattened corpses that they won't pay me too much mind. Naruto looked at the crushed men, and he frowned. A shame. They died instantly. He would have liked it much more if their suffering were to be prolonged, but sadly he didn't know much about necromancy, so he couldn't bring their souls back and force them to work for him to extend their punishment. Naruto then walked to school like it was a normal day. Naruto tripped. Ow! Naruto slammed his face into the pavement. Stupid shorter legs, and stupid changing body. Naruto got back up and rubbed his sore forehead with a growl. Nobody had been looking at him, but if they had been, they would have seen his skirt flipped up. Naruto kicked the rock that he tripped over. Ow! Naruto hit another student in the same uniform as him, and he quickly pretended to be innocent of any crime as he walked by them, their confusion mounting. Man, that girl is smoking hot, nice ass on her. The things I would do to her, that petite waist, and that tomboy haircut. Damn, she's a foreigner, and she's wearing our uniform, she's a new student. She doesn't know I'm hated by the school yet, do I have a chance? Before class even started, the misunderstanding had formed. Wow, this school is just as boring as any other school. Naruto sighed as he pretended to listen to the teacher, and he pretended to read the assigned school texts. He didn't care about math, or gym, Japanese, or even English. He ignored the praise he got from the people in the classroom for how cute the new girl was. He wasn't interested in creating a job for himself in normal society. Magic, that was what he cared about. He wanted to become the highest rank of mage that he could. I've got no real talent for fire magic, because I don't understand the calculations for how fire itself works and how to reinvent it with magic, Naruto thought as he looked at a science book. Magic for humans work different than other species. Others use the power of imagination plus magic, but humans didn't do that normally. Naruto needed to do some study on the subject of magic before he could use said element. Earth magic was the easiest of all elemental magics to use by the property that the mental calculations were the most simple of all of them. I want magic to exert force on the ground and move it. All you needed to do was use magic to apply force to the ground in such a way that it moved freely. To create more earth, you needed to know how that worked as well and use magic to simulate him. Naruto could not yet create more earth, but he could manipulate existing earth as it was. Nor was he an alchemist that could change the state of earth, but he didn't need for that to be the case either. He sucked at fire most of all. Fire needs oxygen, fuel, and heat. Okay, that seems simple, Naruto thought as he looked up fire. It seemed simple, but he didn't know which part of that formula magic needed to manipulate. Or do I need to make it do more than one thing? Naruto scratched the side of his head for a moment. Damn, that bitch is fine. I know, I saw her when I walked to school this morning. Measurements hard to read, so hard to read, almost like she isn't a girl at all. My scouter glasses say 70, 60, 73, damn, nice ass. Wonder who they are talking about. Naruto thought to himself as he traced a magic circle with his finger on the desk, not actually creating one, but going over the design in his head. Somebody had the ability to guess a girl's 3 sizes, and going by those sizes he heard the guy said, it was a girl with a petite figure. What you think, A cup or A cup? Those are some super small titties. You think she goes natural, or wears a bra at all? A cup, almost nothing, but not quite A cup. Nice, big OL titties are the bomb, but what fits in the hand can be a nice change of pace. All boobs are amazing after all. Hey, class just ended, you want to join me for lunch? Naruto felt a tap on his shoulder, and he turned his head and looked at a girl leaning over to talk to him. Naruto looked at her for a second, before he saw a perverted glint to her eyes. No thanks, Naruto stated as he stood up and walked out of the classroom. Naruto turned around and saw that he was face to face with 3 guys. Hey girl, you want to? No. Naruto deadpanned as he walked past them. Naruto left the room, and he quickly walked his way up to the rooftop of the school without talking to a single person. He heard footsteps following behind him the entire way, but they weren't a group of footsteps. Naruto didn't care either way. I just lost all of the friends I had at my old school. Who knows when mom and dad will force us to move to another school? Naruto thought to himself as he got to the actual rooftop, and made his way to the center of it. He sat down and opened his lunch. Next to his lunch, he put his books and opened them up the current page he was on. Sup. So I am sure that I can turn magic into fuel for fire. But how do I turn it into heat? Naruto thought as he turned the page. Out of the corner of his eye, he did appraise her looks, and she was eating her lunch while looking at him with a large grin. Brown hair with braids going over her shoulders, glasses in front of her sharp golden brown eyes, and a petite figure overall, with medium-sized, slim waist, and lavender panties. Naruto noticed that, before he went back to what he was studying. Nias, that sounded perverted. Naruto saw a glint to her eye as she looked around his waist. You know, you're a confusing read. My sensor is never off, but when you introduced yourself to the class, I thought, wow, why is my sensor going off for a girl? Then I realized the truth. The girl stated as she leaned forward. Oh right, I guess I don't look like a boy anymore. Naruto realized what she was getting at. A super cute trap. You're the real deal, alright. I'm Ika Kiryu, and I want to be your friend. I like to be friends with all the cute girls in class, and in my eyes, a trap might as well be a cute girl. Ika extended her hand to Naruto. Naruto looked at her hand for a moment, before he sighed and grabbed it, shaking it. Naruto, so Naruto, I bet you're curious how I knew you were a boy, right? Ika stated, clearly wanting to brag about something. She saw Naruto didn't pay any attention to her though as he ate and read, and she pouted at him. You're ignoring me. Ika scooted closer to him, not minding that she flipped her own skirt several times as she did so. She paid not attention to the way that her panties were revealed at all. She's go away eventually. Anyway, my scouter can let me see guys' dick sizes. Oh, interesting. Naruto stated in a dull tone, not really paying her too much attention. He heard of that guy of the 3 perverts checking out some girl's 3 measurements, and he called it his scouter. So he assumed that this girl had the female version of that or whatever. Here to make fun of me for it or something? Naruto asked with the slightest, of glares in her direction. She shrugged her shoulders as she raised her hands up, shaking her head with a laugh. As if, I think your size is perfect the way it is. You see, I'm a lover of dicks, cocks, penises, whatever you wish to call them. I appreciate them in all sizes. From the micros to the macros, I see all of them as useful in their own ways. Ika exclaimed loudly and proudly. That is why you were so weird to me, Ika admitted to Naruto, as she gained a genuinely confused look on her face. For a second, she couldn't judge his size. The numbers in her head changed for Naruto, as if her scouter was wrong, and then it corrected itself. That had never happened before to her, and now she had to check multiple times to make sure that her numbers weren't off. Thankfully, her scouter was being consistent again. Well, thanks I guess. Naruto still wasn't paying her too much attention. You don't believe me? Not really. At first, my scouter told me 19.5 centimeters, which is pretty big all things considered. Now though, I'm reading at an 8.5 centimeters. Oh, she is telling the truth. That is how big I was before my transformation, and I guess that is how big I am now. I've been too scared to measure since it shrank, Naruto thought to himself with a small glare at Ika. She had some really personal information at her fingertips, but he was sure that she wasn't going to spread it around or anything. Is there a point to bringing this up? Naruto asked her. She sighed. Man, I was hoping to get some reaction. I'm serious though, I really do want to be friends with you. I just wanted to let you know that I'm not going to reveal your secret to anyone, so you can be honest with me. So that we can have an open friendship. Ika pouted at him. And you don't, you're blushing. No, I'm not. No, you totally are. I embarrass you, but you don't want to admit it. It's okay, I won't tell anyone about your size if you'll be my friend. Ika gave him an offer. She grinned at him, before she burst out laughing. I'm just kidding, if you want to be my friend or not, I won't tell anyone. I know how you guys are about your size. Ika gave an honest chuckle. Of course I'm embarrassed. I'm a guy, even if I like these clothes. Naruto's cheeks turned burning red when he realized what he had thought for a second. What the fuck? Naruto had never thought about that before his transformation. No, I'm not being weird, my mom just said these clothes were nice, and it made me feel nice is all. It's not like I like these clothes. Naruto sighed to himself, and he noticed Ika staring at him. Please be my friend. It's not like I'm going to be in this town long. Once a devil in the school realizes I'm a mage, I know my parents will freak out and move out of town. I shouldn't make any friends. Naruto thought as he looked towards Ika. She had her skirt lifted with her own hands. See, now we can both be embarrassed. Now we can be friends. You're not embarrassed though. Naruto deadpanned at her, and she grabbed the front of her panties, and she pulled them up and wedged them. Her still wasn't visible, but the outline of it could be more clearly seen. She had a grin on her face still, and she wiggled her hips back and forth, but her cheeks were a bit more pink. Fine, we're friends. Yes. The cute trap is my friend now. Don't worry, cutie, just trust big sis Aika to help you with whatever you need at Co. If you ever need relationship advice, or a girl's opinion, just let me know and I'm there. Aika scooted closer to Naruto, and she wrapped an arm around his shoulders. So you like science, you any good? Aika asked Naruto with a tilt of her head. I hate it, and no. Fire, huh? What are you having trouble understanding? Aika asked Naruto a little more seriously, and he looked at her for a second. He tilted his head in confusion, before he pushed the book towards her. I know what heat is, but how does heat and fire go together when it comes to fuel? I understand what heat is, but I don't understand what brings about heat. The words in this book are confusing. Aika listened to him, and hummed. Okay, well, heat is the release of energy from molecules and atoms as they move faster. As molecules move faster, they release energy known as heat that can be transferred. Aika noticed that she was losing Naruto, because his face now visibly showed that he was confused. She thought about it for a moment. She grabbed his arm, before she rubbed her hand against his forearm as fast as she could. My hand is molecules, Aika stated to him as she quickly rubbed his arm as fast as she could. Naruto felt his skin heating up. Naruto felt it with his body, and Aika grinned. That is how heat works. When tiny particles move, they make heat. Fire is just when heat reacts with something to a degree that it produces gas. Fire keeps burning as long as there is still fuel, and heat gas can keep being released into oxygen. Do you get it? Aika asked Naruto, and she noticed that Naruto had his own books. Almost none of them belonged to the school, and she noticed that all of them were related to science in some way. Naruto frowned. Can you explain that again? Fast movement produces heat. When things are heated up, they produce gas. When that gas touches oxygen, it becomes fire. Fire is just gas. Fire is a hot fart that fuel releases. Aika thought of the dumbest way that she could explain something, and she spoke it. Naruto thought about it. That afternoon, a hot fart. Naruto mumbled as he raised his hand. Calculations went into his mind, and he created a magical circle in front of his body. He thought of his magic, the particles of his magic, moving very fast and rubbing together. Then he imagined his magic as the fuel as well for the heated magic particles. He frowned and kept his concentration up as the magical circle started to change form, and began to produce heat. The magical circle transformed into a yellow fireball. His magic was the fuel, and the heat, while the magical circle allowed for the calculations to make contact with oxygen and burst into a magical flame. Flames fueled by his magic, and created by his concentration on the calculations and formulas needed to produce those flames. Naruto threw the fireball at a boulder. Boom! Naruto put a crater in the front of the boulder, and cracks formed over the rest of the boulder. Well, hot damn! The next day, Aika-chan. How are you doing today? Naruto greeted Aika with a wide smile on his face. He wrapped his arms around her in a hug, and she seemed taken aback by his sudden change in attitude towards her. Whoa! Nice! Aika wasn't upset by the attention at all. Let's walk to class together. Okay. Since you called my Aika-chan, can I call you the same thing? You can call me whatever you want, we're friends, aren't we? Naruto responded to her with a sparkle in his eyes. He liked her a lot after she helped him understand what he had been trying for a long time. You helped me a lot yesterday, so what can I do to make it up to you? Naruto asked her with a wide smile. She waved him off. Oh, nothing at all, Naruto-chan, anything for a cutie. Helping you study isn't a big deal at all for a girl like me. I know, you're very smart. Let's get some ramen after school. If you know any good places, I'm all ears. It's my treat. Naruto told her with his eyes still sparkling. Aika loved the attention she was getting. Please, join the manga research club. No, the kendo club. No way, come join us for the swim club. Naruto ignored the dozen of girls that were asking him to join their different clubs. Apparently being viewed as a cute girl was enough to make you popular in this school. Naruto didn't respond to any of the requests, since he didn't care about any of the subjects that were being proposed to him. I'm a squishy mage, sports aren't my thing when I should be focusing on mastering new spells. Naruto turned the page in his poke on pyrokinetics. He was going to have to ask Aika to help him study this some more, because he wasn't understanding how fireworks functioned the way they did. He wanted to be able to focus an explosion the same way a firework worked, and for that he needed to study the science behind it. We've got plenty of snacks at the cooking club, we even make tons of cookies on the regular. Don't care. Naruto thought, but he wiped the drool from his mouth. He wasn't going to give in to his new sweet tooth, no matter how tempting sweets sounded to him. Naruto sensed a somewhat strong magical power walk up to him, but he ignored it. How about joining the occult research club then? Yeah, it's Rias Gremory, one of the beauties of the school. Gremory aka, Gemry, Gami, Gemin, or Gemium depending on the grimoire you read. The camel-riding demon, taking the form of a beautiful female who wore, revealing hidden treasures and secrets of answering questions about the past, present, and future, and the ability to gain love from women. Naruto thought as he glanced up at this one. The girl was tall, red-haired, blue eyes, and a figure most girls would kill for. She had a kind smile on her face, and she wore seductive panties that were revealed by the slightest of breezes from an open window. She was beautiful. Every mage knew about the 72 pillar demons of Gota, and the loving nature of the Gremory was well known as well. Though some abilities of the Gremory were lost to time, The ability of love was still well known among mages. Those who were connected to the Grimoire possessed a lot of love in them, or they were well known for having gotten love from many others. That's why these girls are so insanely attracted to Rias. Her aura makes women fall in love with her. Naruto looked back down at his book. Aika was busy with her own club activities, so he was just going to study the book on his own until she could get back and help him out. Well, what do you say? I would love to have a nice chat with you. Well, sure, I have some time. Naruto stood up and looked at her right in the boobs. His cheeks turned red for a moment, when he realized how short he was now. Before, he was even taller than Rias was, but now his height had been severely reduced. Great, well, follow me. So Naruto followed her out of the school building, and they walked together towards the older school building that Naruto didn't know existed. I'm unable to join your peerage. That's okay, but you're a mage. It's only fitting that I make a good first impression on you, and get a good relationship with you if possible. Our people have worked together for a long time now. Rias explained her reasoning. She had no intentions at all of asking Naruto to join her peerage, not when she was scouting for people that caught her interest. So, what brings a mage to Ko? Rias questioned, since usually mages lived with their families and rarely ventured into regular human society. Mages were socially inept people, who more often than not stayed closed up and only bothered talking to themselves or supernatural creatures. A random mage moving to Ko and joining her school was interesting news to say the least. Nothing that concerns anyone but me, so don't worry about it. I see, you're here for your magical studies. I've heard that mages are that way about magic, so you're looking for a devil who can teach you about the secrets of magic. Rias made an assumption about his reason. Naruto looked around the old school building, and when they got to the main room, he noticed that the entire room was decorated like a believer of the occult, but not as a devil. She was putting on a show for any human that happened to look at the room, but the magical circles in the room were 100% real. It was a very funny way to hide the truth in plain sight, to be sure. Why is there a shower in here? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. I enjoy thinking in the shower, so oftentimes I will take a shower when I have a lot of thinking to do. Rias was open with that information. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the answer, but said nothing otherwise. So, what branch of magic do you study? Potions, alchemy, healing, combat spells, or maybe you study magic item creation? Rias questioned Naruto as she sat down. It was just her and him in the room at the moment, if you didn't count the beautiful girl who walked in moments after the two of them. She was a good height, not nearly as tall as Rias, but a traditional Japanese kind of beauty. I'll get the tea started. Thank you, Akino. So, would you like to join the Occult Research Club? I'm sure we can have help to each other in the future. You're a mage about our age, and if we click, I think making a contract will benefit all of us in the future. Rias spoke gently as was her nature, and her offer sounded tempting. You can't help me much. Naruto was honest with her. Oh, I want to study every branch of magical spell, and you won't be able to help me with holy or healing spells. I'm sure you can help with demonic spells, or elemental spells, but I have no interest in joining. But Naruto stopped talking as he looked across the room. He saw a book sitting on a desk, and his mouth started to visibly water as he gazed at it with longing eyes. Is that Naruto got up and he rushed across the room to get a closer look at the book. Oh, it's just one of my brother's old grimoires. I don't read it, but he likes to send them to me to make this room look more like an occult research club room, and not a secret hideout for devils. Rias had checked over the book, but to a devil like her, grimoires were just common books. They mass-produced them and sold them in nearly every store. There were some truly rare magic books, but none of those were in the room currently. You can take it with. Oh, thank you, Rias. Naruto rushed across the room, jumped over the couch, and wrapped his arms around her in a hug. This is awesome. It's a grimoire about ice elemental magic. I'm not great at ice magic, but this will help me get better so much faster. This is awesome. Naruto's personality did such a 180 that Rias needed a moment to process it. Akino just giggled into her hand as she got the teapot to a boil, the tea almost gone for her, Rias, and their guest. It's not a problem at all. Rias put a smile on her lips when she watched him open the book, and get absorbed into it with nearly all of his attention going to the book. So, about joining the club? Rias questioned Naruto. Huh? Naruto wasn't paying attention to a word that she said. The club? Oh, are you still asking about that? Didn't I already said I would join? Naruto questioned her as if there had ever been a question on the subject. Of course a mage would join a club with devils. That only makes sense after all. We need to form a good relationship after all. You never know when we will need to form a contract. Naruto repeated her own reasons. Even his answer did a complete 180. It was like her forgot about how just minutes ago he was going to completely reject her in favor of ignoring her and her peerage, in favor of just getting help from Aika. That's quite the passion for a young lady. Yeah, whatever you said, peerage member girl. Oh, this is some good stuff. I can't even begin to understand some of it, but that's like half of the fun. What are you staring at? Naruto asked Rias when he saw her giving him a smile. Oh, nothing. Rias smiled, and Naruto went back to going over the book. Naruto ignored everything that had to do with anything that wasn't the book he was reading. His eyes were dead focused and unblinking. Akino, you're wrong. He's not a young lady, he's a boy. His student ID says so. Rias pointed out. Yeah, something happened, blah blah blah, and now I'm a trap. Mom refused to buy me the boy's uniform, so I'm stuck dressing like a girl at school. Something happened? Rias questioned. That was not a proper explanation. Well, it doesn't matter how it happened, but now I'm stuck like this. Thinking about the past is lame. I would rather think about the future and work towards it. Naruto got up and he started to walk out of the room with the grimoire in his hands. Thanks, see you later. Naruto told them simply as he left. Hee. Rias laughed into her hand. Akino, your opinion Akino? Rias asked, before she noticed that Akino was licking her lips. I can't wait until next year, when Gasper and Kaneko get to join the school. Akino had plans, good plans, in the future. She licked her lips as she thought of the things she could do to have fun when she got those three together. She saw a lot of amusement in her future. 5 weeks. Naruto spent 5 weeks as a member of the Occult Research Club, and he realized that it wasn't honestly that bad. Most of the time, he just spent time alone in a room with Rias, while Akino and Yorokiba, the male member, were out completing their packs with humans. Just like today. So, what are your Golden Week plans? Rias asked Naruto out of nowhere. The same thing I do every day, plot to take over the world, just kidding, practice magic. I'm having some trouble with grasping 3rd rank water magic. Naruto wanted to get each of his magical elements up to the 3rd rank, but he was having trouble with that. Wind 4th rank fire, 3rd rank earth, 3rd rank water, 2nd rank lightning, 1st rank. The basic elemental 5. Once you master these, it was considered very easy to branch off into other elemental magics. Wind was his best element that he had a natural affinity for, while lightning was his absolute worst affinity. At the moment, he was putting work into water magic now that he had gotten his earth magic to 3rd rank. Then he was going to have some serious work cut out for him to get his lightning magic to 3rd rank. That all? I'm going to Kyoto to spend time with family. My grandma wanted to see me. So I spend Golden Week with her and my aunt, though my aunt is younger than me. Naruto deadpanned when he thought about that little curse on his life. Having an aunt younger than him made his life a little troublesome. To use magic in battle, you needed to be at least 3rd rank to be considered able to apply magic properly in a combat setting. Oh, I was going to ask if you wanted to spend time in hell with us. Come with me to my family home. But that sounds much more fun. I wish I could come with you, but I don't want to intrude on your family time. Rias spoke genuinely. She thought that she could introduce her new friend to the rest of her family in peerage. But if he had plans, then that would be it. I've always wanted to go to Kyoto. Rias sighed. Then come. What was that? Rias asked Naruto with both of her eyebrows raised. Then come along, she won't mind. She's got plenty of space at her place, and she enjoys entertaining guests. Naruto didn't have a problem inviting Rias along with him. Rias gave him a slightly sad look. She shook her head. Demons need to get a special pass to enter holy grounds, even those from Japan affect us. Thanks for the offer though, what are those? Rias asked as Naruto tossed a few slips of paper towards her. She looked at them, and she saw that they were passes for her, Yuro, and Akino to go to Kyoto with special permissions. Her jaw dropped when she saw Naruto had several more, and she realized that she would be able to go. I'm going to go call my parents, and tell them I'm staying in Japan. Rias got up, super excited, and rushed out of the room. Naruto was left alone. Technically, Mom wanted me to invite you guys, so she got me those passes. I didn't care if you all came or not. Naruto thought as he pointed his hand at a glass of water. He needed to create a whirlpool in the glass, but without using magic to just swirl the water around. He needed to use magical calculations in order to force the water itself to recreate a whirlpool. Nothing. He was born at the top of Mount Kurama, and he always went there on the last day of Golden Week with Yasaka so that she could perform a situation to keep whatever Yukai powers he might show suppressed. Since he was born with a connection to the ley line, he needed to have his possible powers sealed off so that he didn't start to absorb power at a rate his body would have trouble with. Since Kuramayama was considered one of the best places with a connection to the ley line, it was the best place to perform the ritual to keep his Yukai blood sealed off. Rias rushed back into the room. I can come along, they said, but I've got to bring them gifts. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Rias forced the excitement off of her face, and she showed a more calm facade to Naruto. She seemed to realize that she was acting in an embarrassing way. She cleared her throat and sat down next to Naruto, a small smile on her face. So how did you get these passes? My grandmother is Yasaka, the one of the leaders of the Yukai, and ruler over Kyoto's Yukai. Oh, Rias didn't know how to respond to that. She was the younger sister of one of the Satans, but Naruto was also related directly to a leader of one of the factions of the world. He was a direct descendant of a Yukai, though from the way he felt to her it would seem that he didn't inherit any of the powers of the species he came from. That explains the whisker marks. Rias realized that was why he got those, and why his face was so fox-like. He was literally part fox spirit. Get your stuff ready after school, then you can come to my house. This is my address, we'll be waiting. Later, Woyudo stated as he looked at Naruto's abnormal house. The fact it looked a lot like a traditional Japanese mansion was one thing, but the way that it stood between two normal houses just caused it to stick out even more. The magical barrier around the house that was safeguarded by several alchemist stones made it so that normal people who saw the house would not pay any attention to it. Rias had some sparkles in her eyes when she saw it, since she had never gotten to be inside of one of them before. They were all in their casual clothes, and she looked at Akino, to see the girl seemed quite comfortable with a form-fitting kimono. I know, I wasn't aware he was wealthy. Boom. We've got to help. Rias ran into action when part of the mansion exploded, flat out exploded with smoke coming from the area. They rushed inside of the barrier, and pulled out their wings to fly over the house. They noticed a red-haired woman covered in ashes sitting nearby the explosion, which had ripped a large chunk out of the house. Well, this is unfortunate, guess I don't need to pay the guy anymore though. Note to self, never test these potions on myself in the future. Kushina stopped up as a scorched chunk of human flesh landed on the ground behind her. Minato came rushing out of the house. Is everything okay? Is Takaru al-o Kushina? Where is Takaru? Boom. Kushina explained the entire situation. I was slightly off, but hey, he knew what he was signing up for. Apparently, he lied about what his blood type was, and the potion reacted badly. Kushina sighed and put her hand to her forehead. She noticed Rias, Akino, and Yuto land on the ground. Naruto's clubmates are here, you better go clean yourself up. Sorry kids, things can get a little crazy here. Oh, I must look a mess. Minato was covered in grease and chemicals since he rushed outside when he heard the explosion. He had been working on his own stuff, and had completely lost track of time. I'm Namake's Minato, Naruto's father. He bowed politely to them as Kushina skipped into the house to get herself cleaned up. Is that normal? Yuto was just shocked as he noticed half of a burned human head in a tree, and other body parts were everywhere. Sadly, my lady doesn't exactly abide by morals when she works. Sometimes things get messy, but she makes sure that her assistants know what they are getting into, but this is more common than you would expect. Can I offer you anything to drink? Minato, ever the gracious host, spoke as he beckoned for them to enter the house. They entered the house through the hole in the wall, bubbling potions everywhere, since they entered through Kushina's studio. They noticed that the damage to the house was fixing itself, as the destroyed portions of the house started to gather and repair themselves. This house is enchanted to always fix itself. Kushina can get very Kushina. We don't experiment on Naruto's friends. Minato chased Kushina off when she came into the living room after them, with a bunch of potions. They are just drinks. Pfft. Akino hid a giggle in the sleeve of her kimono, realizing that Naruto just might be the normal one in the family after all. She wasn't the only one, but Yuta looked at the drinks that Minato was offering them with a concerned glance. It's okay, it is just some wine, non-alcoholic of course, I would never serve booze to a minor. Naruto is upstairs getting ready. I'll just take your luggage to the car. Once everything is set, I'll drive you kids to Kyoto and drop you off. Minato stated since he always spent Golden Week without Naruto. It was a week for Naruto to bond with his grandmother, and for him and his wife to spend a week of quality time. Kushina peeked into the room. Hey kids, want to try out a potion? Yeah? Mom, don't bother them with your Futanari potion. What the fuck is a Futanari? Doesn't matter I guess, but don't offer them weird potions. Naruto took the potions from Kushina and put them on the table. You look good. Yuto stated to Naruto. He was wearing a traditional kimono much like Akino, and it really brought out his looks. His compliment was just meant to be a genuine compliment, but it came off as a little sexual it would seem when Naruto sent him an odd look. Thanks? Naruto looked towards Rias and Akino. I'm all packed up, so we're leaving as soon as Dad gets back. Naruto felt his mother's hand on the back of his head, and she gave him a quick hug, before she walked over towards Rias and grabbed her. Don't worry, just a quick talk, one redhead to another, in the other room. Listen and listen good girlie. Kushina started off with that, and Rias knew she better listen to what the woman had to say. She was taller than Kushina, but the woman's aura made Rias feel like Kushina was bigger than her. Make sure Naruto has fun, and really get him to bond with you. I want him to have a happy life with his friends, since he has a long future ahead of him. And you're not going to tell me to stay away from him? Oh hell no, you get as close to him as you want. I want him to be happy and healthy, and that means getting good friends. You seem like a good person, so let's cut a deal. You get him son to open his heart up and you can use my potions for whatever you want. We got a deal? Kushina offered her hand to Rias, with a sickeningly sweet smile. Like what kind of potions? Whatever fits your needs, I'm sure I can whip something up for you. Let's you notice some guy flirting with my boy, and you want that guy to suffer a little, maybe suffer from some eternal erectile dysfunction, or maybe you notice that you can't sleep at night, and you need something to push things along, or maybe you find yourself needing some help studying for a test, but can't quite remember the answers. Well, I've got you covered, girl. Kushina whispered as she looked around the room, just waiting for Minato to pop out and tell her off for corrupting Naruto's friends. She sighed when she noticed that Minato didn't pop up, and she relaxed her guard a little. By the way, give this to Yasaka when you see her. You do that, and she'll let you visit Kyoto whenever you want. Consider it a down payment. Kushina pushed a small potion into Rias' cleavage, hiding the potion away. Rias didn't stop her from giving her the potion, and she just gave a quick nod of her head to show that she knew what Kushina had done. Say I wanted to make a guy leave me alone. Get me some of his hair, and you get me some pictures Naruto in a bikini, and you've got it. Kushina promised Rias. Rias and Kushina shook hands. Somebody made a deal with the devil. Who was the devil in this deal was left up to debate. Wow, such beautiful forests. Rias was already enjoying herself. The second that Minato dropped them off, he told them that they would need to walk to the place they were staying. He gave Rias and Yuto kimonos to change into, and after that he drove off to enjoy some private time with his wife. They walked through torii gates and saw several of the sights on the way to the place they were staying. Rias was loving it. All of this is so beautiful, and you get to come here whenever you want? Rias asked Naruto with a twinkle in her eye. My granny lives here, so yes, Naruto answered with a bored tone. He was less a fan of Kyoto than most, simply because of the fact that he spent so much time at the place. Once we drop off our stuff, you can explore all you like. Naruto had stuff that he had to do. Helping his family with Golden Week and tourism was among those things. He didn't hate helping, but the fact that he couldn't use his entire break to practice magic was a bit of a bother to him. I need to help with a ritual among Yukai tourists with my aunt, so you can have fun on your own. Naruto clarified so that they didn't try and interrupt him. Yukai celebrate Golden Week? Yuto asked a really good question. Do you demons celebrate Christmas? Naruto asked them with a raised eyebrow. That is a good point. Akino looked at Rias with a raised eyebrow. She always thought it was a bit weird that they celebrated Christmas, when it was the celebration of the birth of their greatest enemy, the being that was the exact opposite of everything that were in all ways. Why do we celebrate Christmas? Rias laughed a little. It's fun, and we're part of the Christian religion. It's our duty to celebrate the holidays of our faith, though we don't celebrate them the same way as our heavenly counterparts still. I didn't expect Yukai to celebrate human holidays in general, not to mention being tourists for it. Rias laughed a little. It was a good-natured laugh, and they followed as Naruto turned and walked off of the stairs. When they followed him and failed to cross the next torii gate, a Japanese mansion materialized in front of them. The barrier they crossed making the mansion visible to their eyes, and they could see the leader of Yukai standing there and waiting for them. Naruto, Kanu. Naruto had his aunt wrap her arms around him in a hug, and he turned bright red when he realized they were close to the same size. He was now only slightly bigger than she was, and not by enough for him to feel comfortable with. She used to come up to his waist, but now they were almost staring eye to eye. So humiliating. Welcome, I am Naruto's grandmother Yasaka. I hope you will enjoy your stay with us during this holiday. Yasaka bowed to them gracefully. She noticed Rias approach her, with a small potion in her hand as she did so. A delivery from Uzumaki-san. Thank you, darling. I've been waiting for this for a while now. Yasaka was visibly pleased when she was given the potion. She hid it in her sleeve, before she walked towards the house. Now we've only got a few rooms available at the moment. Young man, you'll stay with Naruto in his room. Young ladies will be together in the guest room. Yasaka spoke. If you want to drop your things off, I'll have them brought to your rooms while you go and have fun except for you, Naruto. Can you help get things set up? Yasaka asked with a smile. Sure. That night. Such a fun day so far, and look at all of these Yukai, they aren't even in human forms. Rias was taking in the sights. She had so much she still wanted to see, but she was too curious about the Yukai event to be able to hold herself. She saw several Oni, sprites, Nikomata, and she could see some Kitsune that weren't Kyubi. She saw many shapes and forms of Yukai, some of which she couldn't even begin to explain. So many Nikomata. Akino stated with surprise. There were so many cat girls and boys in the area. It would seem that they were one of the more numerous of the species. A booming drum sounded out. It's starting. Oh wow, Yuto spoke with his eyes slowly widening when they looked up at the source of the sound. On stage were both Naruto and Kunu, either of them wearing anything more than the smallest of kimono tops and fundoshi. They were barely covered up, but each of them were holding flaming sticks that they used to beat the drum with. Both of them were standing on either side of the drum, and beating away at it in perfect sync now that they had gotten started. When the flaming sticks made contact with the drum, thunder went off and sparks shot straight up into the sky. I remember when Yasaka did this for us. An elderly blob of a Yukai standing nearby them said as he spoke to the smaller blobs of the same species next to him. A minute passed, and the drum beating continued with the Yukai getting more riled up as the song played. They were getting into it far more than the devils in the audience, who were impressed, but not affected the same way to be sure. The drum song showed no sign of stopping even as 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. It was hypnotic to the Yukai. Like a powerful drug, they stayed focused on what was happening as they gave it rapt attention. They went wild, but no matter how wild they started to party, you could see that they were giving their attention to the two on the stage. 35 minutes later and Naruto was starting to sweat a lot, with Kunu beginning to show signs of exhaustion on the stage. They kept the show going though, and the crowd had gotten so wild in comparison to the tameness that was at the start of the show. The hypnotic effect of the music seemed to have reached the peak. I call it tourism. At the start of each night of Golden Week, this song is played for different Yukai so they can let loose the steam they have kept hidden deep down. They lose themselves, dancing, drinking, fighting, having fun in their true forms. Yasaka put her hand on Akino's shoulder when Yukai started to push up against them as they danced. The youngest children of the current leader is assigned to do this. This tradition actually started thanks to Minato studying Yukai biology. Those sparks, they give off a light that arouses our base desires. That drum also releases a perfect sound for Yukai ears. Yasaka explained with a wide smile. It was a recent tradition. Still, a tradition all the same at this point. Why aren't you affected then? Yuto asked the real question. They are my child and grandchild. I'm not going to be affected by this. The stage is surrounded by a layer of salt and charms, to prevent any yokai from going on stage. Well, looks like it's almost over for tonight. Yasaka laughed to herself. She watched as Kuna ran out of magic power first, and though he wasn't out of magic, Naruto exhausted himself and collapsed next to Kuna quickly. I'll get them once things calm down. Yasaka noticed that the drumstick stopped sparkling, showing that the song was over now. UI started to collapse on the ground one after another, as their own magical energies got absorbed into the drum from the song, and with their magical energies was their stress. As each one collapsed, a face of visible happiness and relaxation appeared. None of them seemed to care at all that they were collapsing face first into the dirt. Where does it all go? Rias asked. That drum absorbs all of the magical energy and stress, and keeps it safely locked away inside of it. Then, after it spends a year purifying that magic, striking it will release small amounts of that magic into the air as sparks. Minato designed it himself, my clever boy. Yasaka gave a look of visible pride to the drum. Though, there is always some extra magic energy left over, and it gets stored for the next year. Yasaka knew of at least 20 years' worth of magic were being stored inside of the drum. Magic from several thousands of yokai from across Japan, but it wasn't a big deal. No yokai wanted to take hold of the drum. With their stress gone for the year, nobody usually had the thought to steal the drum. Not to mention the drum never left the stage, and no yokai other than a Kyuubi could go onto the stage. So every night, can Naruto have fun with us during the day? I don't see why not, as long as he does his shrine duties first. He and Kuna used to always get into so much trouble when they finished their duties. Good times, but now look at them, so grown up. Yasaka gushed over her family. She might be a strict mother, but she was also a grandmother. In the end, her grandmother's side won out quite a bit. She was going to pamper her family during this holiday when they finished their duties, after she had fun with her favorite little potion from Kushina. Prez, you might want to cut back. Ever the voice of reason, Yuto Kiba was. He could see that Rias wanted to do everything and see everything that Kyoto had to offer, and that meant that she was going to use Golden Week to its fullest. She went to every festival stall that she could find, and what was more was she went to try all of the local vendors and tried their most popular dishes. She bought vegetables at every store, though she was sending those to her parents. A growing girl has to eat, and this stuff is so good that I just can't help it. Rias had taken to spending tons of money so that she could wear a different kimono every day so far. She was lucky she was very rich, though he had bought himself a replica sword to study. He could create his own swords, but to do that he needed to design the swords. He was European, and even though he trained under a Japanese sword master, the swords he made tended to be Western. He would like to study Eastern swords so that he could make some of them himself, though he was sure that he would still mostly use his Western swords. You'll grow alright, Akino said. Rias pinched her cheek. I'll work it off later, anyway. Naruto's grandmother said that he was reinstated as she got in line, but she stopped talking when she noticed that it was the stall with the longest line. Guess this is the stall. 100 million yen cash prize, defeat the Golden King, only 10,000 yen to attempt. Guess this seems pretty important. Akino saw that a lot of excited people were in line for this one. A lot of older men and women, but almost nobody in their age group seemed to care enough about this one. Seems we've got some time. Akino noticed the line moved forward one pace, with a person walking away from the front of the line with upset facial features. Guess he lost? Rias smiled. I don't need the money, but this seems like it will be fun. I'll give it a try as well. -2 hours later. Welcome, and oh, it's just you guys. Go away. Naruto stated as he gestured for them to step out of line, to allow the next customers to approach and challenge him. Akino sat down since she was next in line, and she looked at the board that was sitting on the table between Naruto and them. Naruto was wearing a shrine priest outfit, but he had a golden crown on his head. Golden King. So, we're playing shogi then? I've never actually played before, but I hear it's like Japanese chess. Akino saw Naruto sigh. Few, these are your 9 pawns. They can only move 1 space forward. These are your honorable horses, the knights. They move 2 forward and 1 to the side, and can jump other pieces. Your 2 lances can move forward however many spaces, and this is your 1 flying chariot, the rook. It can move any amount of orthogonal spaces, but no jumps. Your bishop can do the same, but diagonally. The gold generals move 1 space in 6 directions, while the silver generals do the same thing but with 5 directions instead. Finally, the king moves the same as Western King. Now pay up. Naruto gestured to the donation box. Kuna put a new one on the table, and she started to take the old one that was completely stuffed with bills away. She had a sneaky smile on her face, since this was the day that they made more money than any other day of Golden Week. Golden King stalled day, they called it. Akino stood no chance. I guess I'm up. Yuto sat down in front of Naruto as the pieces were moved back to where they belong. Naruto didn't change the bored look on his face either. This is so boring, it's just basic combat strategy, as if that were anything interesting. Naruto didn't even bother paying much attention to the game. For some reason, while he was an idiot when it came to things like math, science, and history, when it came to things like battle strategy and physics, he was very good at understanding and mastering them. I wonder why that is. Naruto just mused to himself. Yuto didn't last much longer than Akino, though he accepted his loss with a slight frown, since he didn't quite understand the game. He didn't like losing, but he didn't expect to win either. Rias was next. This seems far more difficult than chess at the very least. Well, let's have a fun game. Rias wanted to enjoy this stall as well. The longer the game goes on, the more difficult it becomes as well. I'm sure that Sona would love this game. Rias mused out loud, unlike Naruto's inner monologues. Naruto just sighed, because he could be practicing fun things like magic, but instead he was stuck sitting down at a stall and facing people in shogi all day. He made a lot of money for his family, since this stall was purely a scheme to make money, but it was so boring. Rias didn't do that bad. In the end though, she still suffered a loss that left her slightly surprised. She had played the game a few times before, but she had won most of those games she had played. Amazing, I couldn't understand his strategy at all. He was utterly unpredictable. Sometimes when I thought I understood what he was going to do next, he did something completely different. Once he started to capture and drop my pieces onto his side, I was slowly overwhelmed before I realized that I was running out of safe moves that he made earlier for no reason ended up putting him into strong positions later. Rias was walking away from the stall as the next challenger made an attempt at Naruto. She focused on trying to trap his king, then he started to place down her captured lances, and she lost her ability to move her king into a safe place. She didn't move her king around nearly as much, while Naruto moved his king into a position where she thought she could take it. Then he would capture the pieces that he lured into a trap. He created plans. Then he created plans that were his real plans, that he revealed once she had thought she figured out what his fake plans were. Much later, tired Naruto's words started to slur together, as he rubbed his eyes. He was sure that he had beaten at least enough people to more than equal the amount of time that he wasted at the stall. Kuna had carried off and emptied a ton of donation boxes. Think you got another game in you? Naruto's eyes kept trying to close, and it was hard to think, but he could squeeze another game out. He kept his eyes on the game board, since if he lost focus on it, then he risked falling asleep. Naruto got his phone out and looked at the time, and saw that it was nearly 1 a.m. Whatever. Last customer. Kuna called out to the line of people that were back for rematches. Nobody complained about it, since it was so late now and Naruto was visibly tired. The match went on for 5 minutes. Kuna raised an eyebrow when the match kept going on for that long, but she didn't pay it too much mind. She saw a young man wearing a Japanese school uniform, but it was mixed with ancient Chinese clothing. He was almost as tall as Naruto had been, 180 centimeters, before his body had changed. The match continued for 10 more minutes, and Kuna stopped working in favor of looking downright surprised at a match taking that long. You're very intelligent, quite the strategist. Whatever tier Naruto's eyes were flickering, but he kept playing the game. Naruto made a surprising move that had his opponent laugh a little. His laugh wasn't a happy one though, it was frustrated at the unexpected move. That was a good move, Jushmoff. Yes, your battle strategy is at a genius level. This is a very difficult match. I have nothing but praise. Just shut up and lose already, Naruto thought as he only looked at the board. Naruto's brain was fuzzy, and he could barely plan his moves. This wasn't any fun for him, despite the way it sounded like his opponent was enjoying himself. Yes, you're an excellent example of human superiority. I've heard rumors about the Golden King, and the prize money that could be gained from beating you. You wouldn't happen to be the reincarnation of Sun Tzu with these strategies. I wouldn't doubt it. The match took 2 hours. It was a back and forth that took an entire 2 hours, but in the end Naruto won. The second Naruto did claim victory though, he collapsed forward into a deep sleep. His opponent stood up, while Yasaka herself approached Naruto. She picked him up, before she started to walk away with her grandson in her arms. Naruto, you've been skipping out on sleep to practice. Hope you enjoy your sleep tonight. The young man that lost smiled. I see his name is Naruto. Well then, Naruto, I'll see you again. The next morning, sorry, he sleepwalks when he is really tired. Kuna apologized for Naruto, who had snuck into Rias' futon during the night. Kuna had slightly red cheeks when she noticed that Rias was buck naked in the bed, and that Naruto was gripping onto her tightly. He'll let go if you do this. Kuna reached down and tickled Naruto's whisker marks. He let go of Rias and relaxed completely, giving Rias the chance to leave the futon. Well, it's no big deal to me. He was quite warm. Rias didn't mind being hugged when she was naked too much, not when it was a genuine accident like this seemed to be. Naruto had gotten home later than anyone else, having been forced to deal with apparently one final long match before he could escape from the stall. Has he always been good at shogi? Rias asked with a smile. Always. His brain is unpredictable. Things that make sense to normal people are weird for him, and things that are normal for him can't be easily understood. He's got the perfect brain for coming up with crazy good battle strategy. Strategy that no sane person would be able to counter easily. And in the last 13 years of holding that stall, he's yet to lose. Rias had to do some math. He's been an expert battle strategist since he was 3 years old? Rias was a little confused at how odd that sounded. Kushina is unpredictable, and Minato is an expert at mentally multitasking. Naruto has both of those traits, so he makes multiple unpredictable plans. Don't worry about waking him up, by the way, he's too tired. The dummy hasn't been sleeping much because apparently he's been practicing magic while everyone was asleep. He spends way too much time training. Kuno was glad to see Rias finish getting dressed. Okay then, well I'm off to explore Kyoto again today. Rias was having the time of her life still. She would ask Naruto to teach her a thing or two about shogi later, after she lectured him about not taking care of his own sleep. Naruto was extremely bored. It's just the same thing every year, it never changes. Naruto thought as he looked at the different yokai in human forms, running the different stalls. He was walking with Kuno. The two of them pretty much spent the entire festival together. He wore a white kitsune mask over his face, while she wore a matching mask on the side of her head. This traditional attire Naruto never minded the clothing he wore before. Traditional fundoshi, he wore them even before his body transformation, but now that his body was so much more feminine, people were giving him more stares. He could feel them staring at his ass, but he did his best not to think about it. He never noticed just how revealing the clothes he wore every year were when he wasn't wearing shrine priest clothes. Sexually stimulating females is what the men of our blood do, and your clothes should reflect your hidden seductive power. Nam, Kuno! Naruto shouted as he pulled his cotton candy back when she tried to take a bite out of it, and ended up just getting a nibble. Oh come on dear nephew, enjoy this while you can. You won't feel like doing anything after tomorrow night when mother strengthens the seal. Kuno enjoyed spending time with her nephew. Yes, her dear little nephew that came from her big brother. She loved teasing him, spending time with him, and being the best aunt that she could be. Maybe you want to spend time with those girls instead of your aunt. Kuno nudged Naruto with what she thought to be a teasing grin. Naruto was barely fazed, rolled his eyes, and proceeded to scoff at the idea. Those girls were extremely sexy, no doubt, but he didn't hold much attraction to them at the moment other than physical. He was attracted to their bodies, but he didn't know either of them well enough to be attracted to much else. Hello kids, care to try and catch a goldfish? Hey Naruto, come over here and try this. For some reason, I'm not able to catch any fish at all. Rias waved to him. She looked up him and down. That looks good on you, very kitsune-like. Rias had been having the vacation of her life. Akino and Yuto both got fish, but she was having trouble with it. Akino was used to doing this, but she was a horrible teacher. Yuto was extremely skilled at these kinds of things, but at the same time he just told her that half of the fun was in figuring out the trick herself. She tended to agree with him. He's damn sexy. Yuto gulped and averted his gaze away from Naruto, his cheeks turning slightly red. Naruto just walked right by them. No thanks. Kuno grinned when she got a certain vibe from Naruto, and her grin turned into a proud smile when she realized that Naruto was going to blow off some steam. Their favorite yearly activity to do during the festival, magic practice. Later, target located at your 2, take a 67-degree shot with 2 degrees of variable with a wide curve. Kuno stated as she peeked out of their hiding place. There were fireworks going off at the moment, and instead of watching them like normal people, Naruto was using this as his chance to practice some magic. Magic target practice. Shooting tiny magic bullets and hitting special targets. You have fuck me harder. Tons of couples loved to leave the festival and come to this spot, and they would then proceed to hook up in the woods. Naruto enjoyed using this as his chance to aim for the people, shooting a magic bullet directly into the places the sun doesn't shine. A low-power shot that wouldn't hurt too much, but would certainly break the mood. Think he will come or scream? Naruto asked as he lined up his shot, a man with his pants down while holding his girlfriend, fucking her against the tree. Kuno narrowed her eyes. If you time this right, I bet you can get him to do both. There. Naruto shot a small magic bullet at a low power and fast speed, with the bullet spinning and curving at the perfect angle. Yeah, your timing was off, he just screamed, he didn't nut. Kuno saw the man pulling out, and there was no cum leak. His girlfriend was dropped to the ground, and like that the mood between the couple was completely ruined. Kuno pushed her hand against Naruto, and she pointed at another couple. Get her this time, curve it between his legs. Kuno saw the wide smile appearing on Naruto's face. He formed 2 magic bullets and made a peace sign. Got you one better, she's grabbing his ass. Naruto shot both bullets, and they soared close to the ground, before they shot straight up. What the fuck? Bitch! Did you just, you bastard, don't just randomly fuck my ass. Hee good shot. Kuno watched as Naruto shot the guy in the crotch once, and then used the second shot to change his angle so that his next thrust would go into the girl's ass. The guy thought that he got slapped in the dick, while the girl gave a shout of surprise. Mood ruined. He loved this yearly magic practice with live targets. Stopping these young couples from making horrible mistakes in public places in such a funny way was just the best. Better that he ruin their mood than let the local cop come by and get them for a crime. Magic bullets were the most basic of basics when it came to magic, but they helped to increase your ability to aim with other types of magic. It helped that the target he was aiming at was very small, and usually in motion, thus his target practice was very effective. Oh, we've got a guy with a huge one with a girl sucking it. Your plan, Captain? Kuno asked with her cheeks bright red. The only one she had seen that big before was her brother's when he joined her for a dip in the hot springs. Gihiha. Naruto took aim and fired. GRK. Jerk, I said don't choke me like that. I'm not going to do this if you're going to be rough. Babe, come back. Naruto and Kuno shared a high five when they saw Naruto's expert shot get the girl and push her head so much that she ended up choking on the dick in her mouth. So, have you found any girls that interest you in school? Kuno asked in a low tone. She just pointed her finger at another couple, and Naruto took aim. Oh, you got a double. I think he came from it. Kuno giggled when she saw the man blush bright red in shame. Naruto made the man come early from the surprise of it. Anyway, you're super pretty now. I'm sure any girl would want to be with you, and some guys. Kuno teased Naruto. It didn't work. Not interested. I want a strong woman who can kick my ass. Just because my body changed, doesn't mean I will settle for anything less than that. A lot of those girls at school are submissive, not only that, but they can't do magic. You always did like those Nikomata triplets who used to live around here. They could crush people with their thighs. Hell yeah I did, too bad they moved away. I'm a squishy mage. I'm at my best in a fight when I can charge up a powerful spell. I need somebody that can guard my back, so I need a strong person to stand beside me. Naruto had legit, battle-related, reasons for his choices. Then again Naruto frowned. Lately, his dreams had been bothering him a little. Some of his more sexy dreams were about things that he had never dreamed about before. Types of play that had never been in his fantasies before. Then again, what about you? Naruto changed the subject, and he caused several more screams as the number of couples hiding out, fucking, started to rapidly decrease with each shot he took. His aim was getting better with each year that he practiced. I don't really care too much about that kind of stuff, but my dear little nephew, you're older than me. You should really be thinking about getting a nice girlfriend now while you can enjoy it. Yeah, and be made fun of for my size and how much I look like a girl. Screw that, I'm not a masoch. Naruto paused for a second and frowned. I'm not a masochist, he stated as he shook his head firmly. He didn't care what kind of dreams he was having. What is wrong with being a masochist? What people do with their lover is their business, and I certainly will love you all the same, even if you like being spanked or tied up. Why do you know about this stuff? Why do you know more about this stuff than I do? Naruto asked her as he took his eyes off of his target, but the sound of a scream alerted him to the fact that he still hit his target. Kuno puffed her puny chest out loudly, as if she had achieved something amazing. I studied so I can be a cool aunt to you. One that you can always come to whenever you need advice that you can't ask your parents. I've been reading tons of magazines since you're at that pervy age now. Hey, got him. Okay, change of subject. I don't want to talk about sex with my aunt, even less when you're younger than me and a virgin. Naruto added for good measure. He was a virgin too, but at the very least that was just because he was more focused on magic than sex. PFFFFFT, that dude, oh yikes, he was not expecting her to be packing a strap on. Naruto stated as he winced in sympathy. Kuno turned bright red, but she did the math and still calculated the shot for Naruto, since it was a pretty difficult shot to make. Naruto needed to make adjustments to how he aimed since he would be more aiming at the girl this time. He likes it. So this is where you were. Rias called out to Naruto when she saw his and Kuno's butt sticking out from a bush. A lot of couples, the few remaining at least, become very self-conscious when they saw a pretty girl like Rias randomly show up and call out so loudly. Naruto and Kuno clicked their teeth, stood up, and started to walk away. Way to ruin practice. Great, now all the targets are leaving. Well, whatever, it's getting late. You've got to get your rest, so. Yeah, growing boy, yeah, take better care of my body. I've heard it all before. Naruto brushed Rias off as he walked by her. Rias raised an eyebrow in confusion for a second, before she turned around and looked at what Naruto was doing. Her eyebrows shot straight up. Some of the couples didn't mind the audience, and kept going, regardless of the fact that a pretty girl was watching them. Rias on the other hand just went slightly pink in the face, while making a hasty retreat from the area. Middle of the night. Ha! Naruto destroyed a target log with a fireball, panting and sweating as he did so. He wasn't going to let anyone tell him to stop practicing. He needed to improve his fire magic, and that meant practicing his power output to gain more control. He needed to learn to fire a shot properly, take good aim, and hit with enough power to only burn the spot on the log that he hit. At the moment, the fireballs he shot blew up and set the entire logs on fire, or just destroyed them. His arm was shaking. Damn it, my magical pathways are getting stressed. I can feel them burning up. I'll switch arms until the burning stops. Naruto switched arms and kept practicing. I'm going to get stronger. I need to get the magic power that I lost back. A little burning isn't going to stop me. I'm wasting too much power. Naruto shot another shot. Naruto was using too much magic when he cast his spell, and instead of all of that magic going to fuel the fireball, 80% of the magic in the attack was being wasted and released. He didn't have good enough control over fire magic to be able to do it without wasting any magic. 20% of the magic he used to cast the spell was going into the spell, but the other 80% of it was just scattering in the area around him uselessly. Naruto collapsed onto a knee, panting hard. Fuck, damn it, why is this so hard? Why fuck no, I refuse to cry about it. Naruto felt his eyes water, but he wiped them and stood back up. He got back into a practice stance, and he forced a grin onto his face. Come on Naruto, you've got this. You can do this. It doesn't matter if you suck at this magic, if you keep practicing, you'll do it. Naruto fired another 6 shots one after another. His magical reserves were lower, and his control over his magical reserves was shot. His body was smaller and weaker, and he had less control over how the magic flowed. He didn't understand this body as well as his real body, even after being in it for months. His body just felt so different than it used to, and controlling magic was harder to do than before because of it. He didn't know how to fix this though. Naruto switched out of fire and to earth. Okay, strong movements. Make your magic control the earth, and use it as an extension of my body. Naruto stomped his feet down firmly, and formed the magical circles in front of him. With sharp movements, he shifted the ground in front of him up and down. Rain? Naruto felt it begin to rain, and the dirt began to quickly become mud. Naruto's movements became more sluggish as he put more effort into training, and he quickly started to use up his magic reserves as he wasted more and more magic. I'm almost out. No, I can't let running out stop me. I'm going to keep going. Naruto took a few woozy steps backwards. Fuck, I guess I'd better rest a minute. Naruto sat down on the ground in the rain. He closed his eyes to let the cool rain refresh him. Naruto fell asleep. Kill ourselves? Yep, we should kill ourselves. Kushina, you've gone mad. I knew you were insane, but I didn't realize it had progressed to this point so soon. Minato deadpanned, since Kushina was suggesting out of nowhere that they take their own lives. She wasn't even explaining to him the reason why they should do it, and he had to get ready to go and pick up the teens from Kyoto. This was the final day of their school vacation, and Naruto had gotten his seal reapplied by Yasaka. No problems to be found. Now hear me out. Minato sat down and gestured for her to continue, but it was clear that he had a sarcastic smile on his face. As if nothing that she said could actually get him to kill himself. We're human, and we have finite lives, but if we kill ourselves we can change that. You're not making any more sense. Minato reminded her. Naruto. I'm trying to say that I'm trying to suggest a way for us to stay with Naruto forever, because he's immortal. We will die, but one day he will forget about us. Maybe we will just become a memory for him, and in 10,000 years, we might not even be that. Kushina exclaimed as she raised both of her hands into the air in annoyance. Minato didn't understand why her idea was perfect. Of course, she had yet to explain what her plan was to him yet either. All she did was tell him that they needed to kill themselves in order to be with Naruto forever. But the very idea of being with somebody by killing yourself was crazy. Going to hate myself. But how does that work? Simple, we will both drink this potion I've made. It will transfer our souls into our blood, and we will bleed ourselves out. Then with your dying breaths, you use your alchemy to fuse the blood into these precious stones. Kushina stated as she dropped a ruby and a sapphire onto the ground in front of herself. I call the ruby, by the way, it matches my hair. Kushina was going to put her soul into something that made things easier for Naruto to tell which stone she was in. Kushina drank the potion in front of him, and she put a copy of the potion on the table next to him. She grinned to herself, and she even showed a ceremonial dagger. She pointed around the room and gestured to the magical circle that was embedded in the hardwood floor. It was her family magic seal, so the magic she performed while on top of it was enhanced. What about turning Naruto back to normal? We can't do that if we're dead. Screw back to normal. Whoever made that potion was way beyond our skills. We can't fix this, and it can't be fixed by magical ways. I can't stand the idea of my son one day forgetting about us. I would rather kill myself to put my soul into a gem than even have the chance of being forgotten, Kushina proclaimed with a proud puff out of her chest. She truly believed that she had a good idea, and that was what was worrying for Minato. The fact that Kushina was actually willing to just kill herself without hesitating if it meant that they could forever be a part of their son's life. How does this even let us be with him? If our souls are in the gems, then Naruto can talk with us and carry us with him. Once our souls wake up inside of the gems, we will always be able to help him when he asks. Well, Kushina tossed the ruby onto the ground, and she didn't hesitate to slit her own throat. Her blood splattered across the stone, with the magic circle on the floor brightly glowing. Kushina just grinned a crazy grin as she collapsed onto the ground. Shit! Minato rushed to her side and placed his hands on her neck to stop the bleeding, and he healed her with his alchemy. The second she was healed, she stabbed herself with the dagger several times in vital organs. Join me in death, Minato. We can be with Naruto forever. Kushina's soul left her body with the blood, her blood glowing slightly with the power of her soul. Minato needed both hands to heal her, so he couldn't stop her from stabbing herself even if he wanted to. Her grin told Minato all that he needed to know. Kushina had not been giving Minato the option of killing themselves. She had made a decision, and that decision was that they were going to be by Naruto's side forever. He could either join her, or he could leave her to die in his arms. Damn it, Kushina. Minato could see the benefit behind what she was doing, but the horrible part was that they would only get a single chance to try this. Kushina had to be 100% sure that whatever she planned was going to work, or they would just be killing themselves for nothing. Tears stained his cheeks as he was faced with the worst possible issue to ever plague him. Is this what you've been working on since this mess started? A way to kill ourselves? Minato shouted in her face. Kushina just reached up with her free hand, and stroked his cheek. Let's be with Naruto forever together. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of Naruto losing us forever. For our son, do this for our son. Damn it! Minato placed his hand on the magic circle and used his alchemy to fuse Kushina's blood into the ruby, trapping her soul inside of it. He set the magic circle on auto so that as she bled out, the stone would continue to absorb her blood. You're not leaving me any choice. I know I'm not, otherwise you would never agree. You're damn right I wouldn't agree to this. This is madness. Minato grabbed the second potion, and he chugged it down. Kushina put the dagger next to him, and she reached out to grab his hand. She smiled gently at him. She and Naruto had the same grin. Madness, this is magic. In Kyoto, I feel like I'm going to throw up. Naruto held a hand over his belly. He hated having the seal reapplied each year. It left him feeling weak for a week, and he was so exhausted after it was applied. He just wanted to crawl into his bed and not come out until he felt better. Rias offered him a snack to help calm his stomach, since they were just waiting for Minato to come and pick them up. This was so much fun, you've got to help me get better at shogi. Rias was happy when Naruto accepted her snack. No, I've got this pretty nice grimoire on. Of course I'll help you. Naruto changed his tune real fast. He didn't even care what the magic was about. Learning magic was worth the price of teaching her to play a game. Naruto's phone went off, and he looked to see that he got a text. We love you, Naruto, but I can't pick you up from Kyoto. Looks like we're taking the train back to Kuo. Sounds fun. Akino stated, and she was the first one to start to walk. They had a lot to carry, and a long distance to walk to the train. Need a hand? Yuto offered Akino. Such a gentleman as always. This was a lot of fun. Next break I'm going to go home to spend time with my parents. You're more than welcome to come with me then if you want. Rias spoke with Naruto. She wanted to return the favor. The fun that she had was going to stick with her for a long time. She gave an awkward grin when she noticed that Naruto was barely paying any attention to her. Naruto? Rias asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Are you okay? Not really, I'm exhausted from the seal both emotionally and physically. I can't help but think the universe loves to fuck with me. I guess I can visit your home at some point. Naruto didn't have much to say to that. I'm hungry. Anyone want to get ramen before we get to the train? Naruto asked as he licked his lips, seeing a ramen stand a couple of blocks away. You enjoy ramen? Yuto slowed down and matched Naruto's pace. I'm a slut for ramen. Naruto deadpanned. I thought you were a slut for magic. Akino used his own words, his joke, against him with a small giggle. Rias giggled at the joke, and she noticed that Naruto's face didn't change too much at the small teasing. Depends on the fetish and the magic. I have limits to what I will do for magic, despite what you seem to think. Naruto deadpanned. That got some laughs from the others. I understand, despite that there are certain things I absolutely love, I've got limits to what I will do for them, outside of the universe. Well shit, I didn't account for her being crazy, did you, little guy? PPP asked as he looked at Skew, who just shrugged his shoulders in response. He just wanted to prank a version of himself that had been lucky enough to be raised by loving parents. Nowhere in his mind did he think that his mother was so insane that she would use her own body in order to do something drastic. She did experiment on her womb in your timeline too in order to birth you. Well shit, she is that crazy. Don't blame yourself for this one. Oh, it's a universal constant that goes across dimensions. Funny enough, if you had not turned Naruto into a trap, his parents would have died that day. Kushina would have continued an experiment she was working on, and both her and Minato would have died in a massive accidental explosion. Oh, so I delayed their deaths? PPP felt a little better. Wait, so you're saying that destiny itself doesn't want us having parents? Yep, the birth of a savior or destroyer is the destiny of all Narutos. Great personal loss is something that the universe demands from us. We can't have our parents, because then we lose our potential to become destroyers. We are always destined to destroy or save the world. I'm going back to my universe. Have fun with your fuck monsters. Corpses. They got to Naruto's home since they would feel bad about not dropping him off, only for them to go inside of the home itself and see the horrible sight of corpses waiting for them. Blood was everywhere, their bodies on top of a ritual circle. They didn't look like they had even been dead for that long. Ah, Naruto, are you? This happened faster than I was expecting. Naruto stated as he walked into the room where his parents' corpses were. Jaws dropped when Naruto said that in a completely expecting voice, and from his words, it really seemed like he had seen something like this coming. Naruto looked at the ruby and sapphire that were sitting in the middle of the ritual circle. I wonder who suggested this. No, I can pretty much imagine that it was Mom. Naruto flipped his mother's corpse over, and saw the 30 or so stab wounds that she must have inflicted on herself. The others followed after Naruto, with Rias putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder. She looked at his eyes, and she couldn't see any emotion at all in them. His eyes seemed dead to the reality of what was happening, showing that he was hiding them deep down, or he truly didn't feel anything about finding his dead parents. We're here for you. That's great, can you help me bury their bodies then? It will take longer doing it by myself. Digging a grave for them seems like the right thing to do actually. I might need help carrying the bodies too. Naruto stated as he tried to lift his father's body, but was unable to do it. You're not going to call the mages aren't actually usually registered in the government as people. I'm a Japanese citizen, but my parents use magic to blend in. A lot less questions if we just bury the bodies somewhere people won't find them. Naruto pushed his father's body onto Ria's shoulder when she helped him out. Naruto looked around the house, before he extended his hand towards the carpet. I'm going to burn the house down, since I can't really afford to live here by myself. Can't let these potion secrets and alchemy secrets out into the world. Naruto was just going to burn it all down and start anew. Akino asked Naruto in surprise. Just like that? Yuto agreed with Akino. The two of them were just shocked at how well Naruto was handling all of this. You're just going to burn all of their stuff? Yuto questioned Naruto, as if he was going insane. Naruto shrugged before he paused. You're right, there are books on magic I should go and get. Since I'm going to be burning the house down, I might as well not bother burying their bodies either. Good idea. Naruto thought over his plan. It would be a lot of work to bury his parents, something that he didn't want to do. Can you three go get all of the magic books out of my room? Naruto asked them with a tilted head. Your parents dash. Akino was stopped when Yuto put a hand on her shoulder, and she looked to see Rias biting her lip, not saying anything about what was happening. They all just nodded their heads and left the living room without Naruto, going towards his bedroom. Naruto punched his mother, and kicked his father. That was all of the anger he would have enough time to express at his new situation in the little amount of time before the others finished what they went upstairs to do. Crazy, you're both insane. Whatever is special about these gems better be worth the price you're forcing me to pay for it. Naruto felt how heavy the gems were in his pocket. They weren't physically heavy. The emotional weight these gems had were almost too intense for him to hold onto. Whatever was special about them was something his parents had felt were worth their lives to give. He could feel strong magical power coming from the gems, and the power felt similar to his parents' power in nature. I knew one day she was going to kill herself on accident, or on purpose with one of her potions, and I figured he would die in the same accident, but this happened sooner than I thought. I thought I would be out of the house and on my own. Naruto thought as he extended his hand, summoning a fireball. He pointed it right between his parents, and set the entire magic circle ablaze with them lighting up in the flames. In a few moments, the others came down with his books, seeing a fire spreading in the living room. We've got them, thanks. Naruto didn't pay attention to who had spoken to him, but he guessed it was Rias. He didn't care though, he just watched his parents get consumed and converted into fuel for the fire. Did you know fire needs fuel, heat, and oxygen to burn? Fuel is anything that can burn on a molecular level, and carbon-based life forms are not immune to this burning. Naruto explained the process of burning something to Rias, or whoever had spoken to him. His parents had become fuel for a fire, a magic that he had started to learn when he got to this town. Naruto went over magical formulas in his mind to keep himself calm. The others were deathly silent. What could be said here? Fat in the human body is an amazing fuel, and when a body is burned, peripheral bones in the hands and feet usually don't burn all the way up. That is because there isn't a lot of fat there to fuel the flames. Fatter people burn hotter and longer than thin and muscular people. Naruto felt Ria's hand hold his own as she pulled him along after her. He could smell the burning of corpses, but that just made him remember things that had to do with the process of burning. Is this how he is handling his loss, by bottling it up? Akino felt sympathy for Naruto. The way he handled things were so different than the way she did it. You can stay with me if you want until we can contact your grandmother. I can't stay with her, otherwise I wouldn't have come to this town in the first place. I'm just going to, I don't know, get an apartment or something nearby the school and find a part-time to pay for it. Naruto knew it would cut into some magic study, but he didn't have much choice left. There was a large explosion behind them that destroyed the entire house completely. The fire had reached his mother's potions, and they reacted violently to the fires that burned. There was a crater where his house used to be, and Rias noticed that pieces of the house that rained down from above would bounce off of the air around them. I'm good at wind magic. This barrier has been around us since we started to leave the house, Naruto pointed out with a smile. You're staying with me, at least until you can get that apartment like you said. Rias knew that insisting on Naruto staying with her would be the only way he could be willing to do it. There was a long pause. Naruto just stared at the crater that was his home, and by this point the sound of police sirens could be heard. They didn't have much time to delay in how things were going, or there would be a lot of awkward questions to answer that he wasn't in the right state of mind to lie about. You know the really sad part? What? I can bet you my mom did something else that hasn't happened yet, something that will come into play later on, and make this entire mess even more screwed up. I just know that she did something. It is so sad it's funny. Naruto had to laugh at the situation. Even as he laughed, he walked with the three demons. He allowed them to walk him away from the scene of the explosion. The next day, I burned all of my clothes and other things. Naruto realized that he may have made a couple of mistakes when he burned down his home, and realized that maybe he took after his mother more than he thought. Instead of thinking things through, he had gone with his gut in the moment. Naruto looked at the ruby and sapphire sitting on the arm of the couch he slept on, and he felt a little frustration, before he sighed to himself. How are you feeling? Rias asked Naruto as she sat next to him on the couch. I feel like I just burned my parents' bodies, and now I realize that I'm an emotionally broken person who takes after his mother. That is a very astute way to describe yourself. Rias had to admit she didn't expect that answer. There was a knock on her door, and she walked towards it. When she opened it, she saw the delivery man waiting for her. Delivery for Rias Gremory. This is a box from Kushina. This can't be good. Rias thought to herself as she looked at who the box had come from, and she realized that she might not want Naruto to see her open the box up right now in his current state. It just might be a bad idea. It was a sad thing, how a person could block out emotions during times of great stress or need, and how a person could keep finding excuses to continue to block out those emotions. Rias had refused to allow Naruto to find his own apartment on his own, mostly for her own reasons. She didn't know Naruto well enough to know how deeply he was hiding his emotions, but she knew the human mind well enough to manipulate memories with her magic. She had studied how human minds work to some degree to manage that level of memory manipulation. He needs to cry, Rias thought as she watched Naruto studying a magic book. I can't let him be by himself until he breaks down and mourns his parents. Rias continued her line of thought. She wanted to help him, because she could hardly imagine the pain that he was going through right now. To lose your parents was heartbreaking. Naruto, I think we should talk about your parents. What is there to talk about? They killed themselves and I'm pissed off. Naruto deadpanned at her when she questioned him. He had expected his parents to die a long time ago, though in all honesty he expected to die with them in some freak accident. It was a little shocking to be sure, but he had come to terms with their deaths long ago, even before they died. I mean, I can't exactly mourn them right now anyway. I've got magic studies school, and I've got to find a part-time job to pay for an apartment. See? Naruto stated as he showed his list of things he had to do by writing them in midair. Rias could only sigh. Naruto wasn't allowing himself to the time to feel anything was just the problem. His mental defenses were high. He was keeping his mind busy with things that many would consider trivial, but to Naruto were a matter of great importance. Stay with me as long as you like, Naruto. It's perfectly okay to rely on your friends in your time of need. Okay, then start charging me rent, or make me do something in order for me to feel like I'm not mooching off of you. Anyway, I still need money to eat, and it isn't like I can just sell an unlimited amount of gold. Naruto stated as he thought about his blood. In truth, he could avoid all money troubles by selling gold he could create, or precious stones. That could lead to somebody learning his secret though, and he would be forced to have to always be on the run if somebody found out his secret. I've also got clothes problems. All I have are these schoolgirl uniforms. I need more clothes. I'll need a swimsuit to study water magic near the ocean too, and some workout clothes. Well, I'm off to find some part-time work. Naruto stated as he got up. Rias didn't just let him leave though. She stood up and walked by him when he left the room. She wasn't exactly trying to sneak either. She made it obvious that she was going to follow him. You wouldn't be mooching off me, and don't worry about my money either. I'm very well off. I already take care of Akino and Yuto's expenses. 7 or 8 more people wouldn't even raise an eyebrow from my parents. Rias wanted to convince Naruto that he didn't need to work. Naruto rolled his eyes. I refused to. Naruto stopped talking and sighed. You're not going to stop, are you? Naruto asked her. She smiled at that. I care about you, so no. I don't know if I can mourn them, because I don't even know what to feel right now. Everything in my life has turned upside down in such a short time. I'm a super cute, adorable trap, and I've been having sexual dreams that I almost never had before my transformation. Now my parents are dead, I'm in a new town, and my only friends are perverts, a fallen angel, and devils. Naruto listed off the things that were wrong with his life at the moment. He didn't want to know what he wanted to feel, because everything he was feeling was all over the place. Oh, not to mention I'm a pervert who likes to dress up like a girl, and I hate it. Before I was turned into this, I never had dreams that I was being spanked by a hot girl as she teased me. I used to be tall, 180 centimeters tall. I used to be muscular, well, not super muscular, but I was athletic. My magical control was better than it is now. Everything that I have worked for, and everything I took for credit is gone. If I break down crying now, then I might not be able to recover by myself. Naruto didn't say it out loud. He wasn't comfortable telling people that. Naruto glanced over at Rias, and saw how she was waiting for him to say more. She was a very beautiful, caring woman, and he just sighed after a moment. Go on. Go on? Naruto asked her with narrowed eyes. Go on, tell me more about your problems. Whatever problems you have, I can help you with them. After all, I'm a demon, and responding to desires is what I do. Rias smiled at Naruto. It was just a smile. It made him frown. I can't ask you to help me. Okay then, I'm going to help you without you asking me then. Rias grabbed Naruto's hands and walked side by side with him. If you don't like it, consider it my way of thanking your mother for the gift she sent to me, for the potions she sent me. Rias saw that Naruto raised an eyebrow at that. Naruto tried to pull his hand away. I don't need help. Too bad, I'm giving you help anyway, and there is nothing you can do about it. I'll buy any apartment building that you go to, and make sure you pay no rent. Whatever clothing store you visit, I'll be there waiting for you, and you won't pay for a thing. If you get a job, I'll visit there every day you work and shower you with praise. I'm going to help you, and if you throw a fit about it, well, I guess we can get Akino involved, Rias stated as she raised a finger up. She still refused to allow Naruto to tug his hand out of her grip, even as they walked together. What are you, my sugar mama? Naruto deadpanned at her. I'm not your sugar mama. I'm a seriously concerned friend who doesn't want you to spiral into a never-ending cycle of depression and despair. I have the power to help you, so I'm going to help you, and there isn't a thing you can do to stop me. So get used to it. You're going to cry one way or another and let it all out. Rias' words caused a visible stir in emotions on Naruto's face. Naruto pulled his free hand back, balled it into a fist, and he took a swing at Rias. She caught his hand, before she lifted his entire body up into the air by his wrists. They stared into each other's eyes. I'm going to shower you in so much love that you're going to cry. You will cry so much that by the end of it every sad thing that has ever happened to you will feel all better. Rias threatened him with the weirdest threat he could imagine. Naruto took a deep breath. Rias was challenging him. I have my pride. I'll crush your pride with my love. Rias responded as soon as he said it. If that doesn't work, I can just spank you until you admit you miss your parents. Rias also gave Naruto that option. Usually spanking was reserved for members of her peerage who broke rules, since it would look bad on her family if she didn't punish her servants when they acted up. She didn't usually spank them for minor things, and Naruto wasn't part of her peerage, but she would threaten him with the punishment all the same. Water splashed on both of them from above, with Rias quickly realizing that Naruto had summoned water magic above their heads to drop it down on them. She kept her hold on him, even as her shirt became slightly see-through with her bra being fully visible. I can see you're through your bra. Naruto looked at her boobs directly, trying to embarrass her enough to let go of him. He actually could see the shape of her. He used some ice-cold water for the magic. Rias sighed in response, but she did relent and allow Naruto to stand on his own 2 feet again. She did not cover herself though. By the way, I have tons of problems as well. If you really don't want to feel like a mooch, you can help me too. How about that? Rias asked Naruto with a smile on her face. Naruto was confused, since just seconds ago she was being pushy, and now she was willing to give ground to him. It actually made him a little suspicious, but other than giving her an odd look for a few moments, he didn't have much reaction. Rias grabbed his hand. So, tell me some of the things that are troubling you, and I'll see what I can do about them. Rias stated to Naruto with a smile. He sighed and walked with her. Era, what do we have here? Rias wanted to assert her dominance over me by trying to make me cry, and she threatened to spank me. Naruto pointed a finger at Rias. He let go of her hand and went complete deadpan, with Rias sending Naruto a surprised look at the way he phrased that. Not wrong exactly, but not completely correct. Oh my! Prez, you naughty girl. Akino teased Rias, and the redhead responded by slightly touching her fingers to her forehead. Akino had a towel and covered Rias' shoulders and with it since they were walking down the street, and she was soaking wet with visible hardened. Why don't you just leave the spanking to me? I'm sure that I know just the ways to make it hurt so good that he will cry out. Akino moved over to Naruto as whispered into his ear from behind. When he tried to sneak off, he shivered with his face turning bright red. He ran away. Akino, why did you scare him off? Your plan is to make him open up and spill everything, and cry his heart out. I know you well enough to know you've come to care for him. He's quite fun to have in the clubroom. Yudo constantly trains with his swords, leaving just you and me. I'm quite fond of him as well. It's so much fun to watch him get completely obsessed with his goals, so I'm going to help. Akino clapped her hands together. Rias sent Akino a suspicious look. Listen, Akino. Also the way he just shivered and blushed, it strokes the sadist in me. Akino licked her finger and slowly dragged it across her lips. Akino did become serious after a moment where she allowed herself to get lost in her own fantasies. Not to mention, he's already figured out my heritage, and still treats me the same. Akino smiled after a moment. Rias was surprised. He figured it out on his own? Rias was honestly shocked. He knew from the moment he met me. He sensed that part of my magic. He put 2 and 2 together. I saw it in his eyes. He cares more about my magical talents than he does my heritage. Actually, you heard him. His only friends are perverts, a fallen angel, and devils he knows, and that confirmed it for me. Akino had suspicions, but Naruto stating what his friends were was enough to let her know that he truly did know her secret. So you're romantically interested in him? Rias had to ask with a raised eyebrow. Akino hummed and thought. I think he is just my type. He's almost always smiling. Is he? Rias had to admit, she didn't pay too much attention to his smile. She thought back on it though, and she realized that Naruto spent most of his time smiling. The only time he didn't smile was when he was being forced to do something he didn't enjoy. The rest of the time he was smiling as he enjoyed practicing magic. That's right, your favorite type of man, a man who is always smiling. He's so cute. I just want to caress his cheeks. His whisker marks are just adorable, so I understand completely. Rias could agree with Akino on several points. She had to control herself to fight her bad habit of petting cute cheeks. It was one of her weaknesses. She didn't want the mood between herself and Naruto to be ruined by something like that though. She wanted to portray a serious air about herself. Do you? Do I? Rias could see that Akino had more to it. He is an idiot, but he works extremely hard to be good at magic. Even though he has a lot of trouble understanding magic, he chases his dream of being a top mage with a fire in his heart. No matter how much he fails, he still loves practicing and getting better. His smiles aren't just smiles, he smiles in the face of challenges. I don't love him yet, but I want to give things a try with him. Akino wanted to see if she and Naruto could click on a romantic level. It helped that he knew the truth about her and seemed not to care at all. He's so cute like Gasper, that I just want to do all kinds of naughty things to him. Even better if I can get my trio of cuteness with Kaneko. Akino licked her lips at the very thought of that. Rias thought about that before she laughed a little. It's a fun thought, but I just want Naruto to stop bottling up his emotions first. With Naruto was hiding from Akino. I'm going to have a lot of sex dreams about her. The way she whispered in my ear back there was I can hear my own heartbeat. Still only magic should get me this excited. Naruto was questioning his own mind at the moment. I should ask my dad about Naruto paused as rolled onto his back. He stared at the ceiling. Right, his parents were dead, he could never go to them to ask them for advice. They were no longer part of his life, and all he had to remember them with were the gems that they enchanted with something. Afternoon Naruto. Hey Yuto, never mind, it isn't important, I'll ask Aika about it later. Naruto would ask Aika for her advice on what to do. She was a massive pervert, and she wasn't going to judge him for having dirty thoughts. Okay, so do you want to talk about your headbutt? Naruto launched himself forward and smashed his head into Yuto's crotch, taking him down to the ground in an instant. Even with Yuto's speed, he had not been expecting the surprise attack against his junk. No, I don't want to talk about my parents, people need to stop asking me. I want to talk about the weird perverted things that I keep dreaming about. Naruto stood up and walked away. He could admit this out loud to Yuto. After all, it wasn't like Yuto would tell Rias or Akino. The bro code meant that Yuto had to keep what he just heard a secret. Right. Only ever take 3 drops of the potion, the effect will last for 12 hours. Your potion maker, Kushina.P.S. If I'm dead when you're reading this, and have any questions, my son should be able to explain it for you better. So this potion is what will make Riser not want to marry you? Akino asked as she looked at the assortment of potions, and the one that Rias was holding. She was holding the note that Kushina wrote for Rias, and all of the instructions were very clear. Rias just needed to take 3 drops of the potion, and they would be able to get rid of Riser. Well, the potion works. I tested it out yesterday, and it did work rather well. I invited Riser to the clubroom today in order to tell him that I would be willing to marry him, and that we can consummate our union tonight. Rias spoke with a growing, wicked smile across her face. She saw Naruto sitting on the floor, and he was drawing a magic circle with a blindfold over his eyes. For a mage, the ability to mentally form magic circles was key to increasing their control over their magical power. So drawing it blindfolded would increase the ability to focus on the image of the circle itself, and increase the mental speed that the creation of the circle took. Do you have any questions for Naruto? Naruto, can you take a look at your mother's letter and see if there is anything wrong with it? Rias asked Naruto as she gestured for him to come and sit on the couch with her. Riser would be at the school building in about 30 minutes, so she had some time to enjoy herself and enjoy the horrible prank that was coming. Naruto sighed. He undid his blindfold and walked to the couch, sitting down and taking the letter. Rias Gremory, my dear client. This potion is the potion that will drill through the heavens, aka. You can use this potion to grow a drill that will pierce this Riser guy's heavens. Aka this is a Fiota potion, which will give you a dick for a limited amount of time if you follow these instructions very clearly. Riser wants your hot redhead body, but if he wants you, then he wants you to have the normal girl anatomy. This potion was created when I was researching a way to turn my son's body back to normal. I believe that it could work, but alas it doesn't work on him, but it does work on everyone else. Men that drink it will turn into women with dicks, and women that drink it simply grow dicks. Riser thinks you don't want to marry him, so tell him you want to, and he will get very excited. Step 1. Tell Riser you want to marry and fuck him. Step 2. Drink the potion. Step 3. Meet up with Riser, and tell him you can't wait for penetration. Make sure you word it very carefully so he thinks he will penetrate you. Step 4. Roughly fuck his ass, or let him chicken out. Tell him your new body addition is permanent, and as long as you follow the instructions, it won't be permanent. Step 5. Enjoy him canceling the marriage, and have fun. Follow the instructions. I repeat. Follow the instructions on how to take the potion perfectly, or the effects will become as permanent on you as my son's transformation is on him. The instructions are very simple. Don't take the entire potion, don't take half of it, don't take 1 drop or 4 drops, or 2 drops. Take 3 drops of the potion, and that is it, and 3 drops is the limit. And no matter what you do, only ever take 3 drops of the potion, the effect will last 12 hours. Your potion maker, Kushina.P.S. If I'm dead when you're reading this, and have any questions, my son should be able to explain it for you better. Looks like it's very clear. If you don't want the effects to become permanent, just take 3 drops. That is the limit to how much you're ever allowed to take. Naruto tapped his hand against the paper, since it was very clear. Rias should only ever take 3 drops. Ever. Okay then, 3 drops it is then. Rias stated as she got the dropper, and she filled it with the potion. She extended her tongue out, and put exactly 3 drops of the potion right on her tongue. With that done, she swallowed the drops and nodded her head. Naruto blinked and looked at her. Ah, never mind. Naruto stopped what he was saying when a flaming magic circle appeared in the room. Naruto got off the couch and went back to studying magic, not caring about what was going on now. Have fun with the plan, though never mind, Naruto stated as he realized the mistake in the plan that Rias had made for herself. His mother could have worded that a little better, but he was sure that something could be possibly done in the future. It was possible that he was wrong, but he was pretty sure that he was not wrong. His mother was a very straightforward and literal person after all. Rias! Do you mean it? Have you changed your mind? Riser came out of the portal, excited with red cheeks. He had rushed as soon as he got her letter, and he tried to wait until the time she wanted to meet him, but he couldn't handle it. He could barely wait until the time they were supposed to meet up. Riser looked at Naruto. She's a cutie. Naruto flipped him off. I'm a boy jackass, and I'm a mage that the Titty Demon has a contract with. You aren't allowed to touch my hot trap body, Naruto casually stated without looking away from his book on fire magic. Also, it might not be gay to like a trap, but it is gay for me to be into men despite being a trap, and I have no interest in masculine mates. Wasn't even lying. Despite some of his new internal interests, he wasn't attracted to dudes. He just didn't like looking at those muscles, and he wasn't attracted to those deeper voices. He just didn't have any attention to dudes. Which was funny because he had been attracted to his own reflection in the mirror when he wasn't paying attention to the fact that it was him. Okay, is he your contracted mage? Riser asked Rias with a raised eyebrow. She nodded. Not official yet though, but I do plan to contract him in the future. So all things considered, he is my contracted mage. Now you got here faster than I thought you would. You read my letter all the way? Rias asked with a graceful smile. She wasn't shocked that Riser got to the clubroom early, not when he had been trying to seduce her for years into agreeing to the marriage, and consummating the union before the wedding. This must have come as a welcome surprise to the man. Akino walked over to Naruto, and sat down on the ground in front of him. Here, let me help you with that. Akino needed to keep her mind preoccupied, otherwise she was going to laugh her head off. She knew what was coming, and she really couldn't wait until the fallout. You said you wanted to enjoy your first time with me until morning. Are you being serious? Riser was excited, visibly excited. Rias just stood up and smiled to him, as if they was the answer to his question. She didn't correct him, because he wasn't completely wrong. She had to internally smile at just how evil Kushina was to think up this kind of plan for her, but at the same time she had to admit that she would have never thought of such a simple solution to her problem. She had access to transformation magic, and she never thought to threaten Riser with it, though she didn't have experience with the magic like her brother did. Of course, Riser, I'm always serious when I speak to you. I don't find any conversation I have with you to be the least bit comical. So no, I'm not joking with you. I wish to give you a taste of what your future holds with me as your wife. I swear that I will do my absolute best to ensure that you know fully well just how ready I am to fill a hole. Rias wanted to burst out laughing on the inside as she saw Riser's face light up. He wrapped an arm around her. Very well, my dear, then let's go. No need to keep the bed waiting. Of course. Rias and Riser left the room. Okay, spill the beans. What did Rias do wrong? Akino asked with a smile on her face, knowing that something had gone wrong judging by how Naruto had reacted. She also chuckled when she thought about how amusing it would be when Riser came back to teleport away from the clubroom. Naruto looked at her. I might be wrong, but I'm most likely not. My mother is a very literal woman. If she says that you should only ever take 3 drops, she means ever. You don't take 3 drops when you want to use the potion, you take 3 drops through the course of your entire life. Naruto explained what he believed his mother meant. Oh. Akino realized what that meant. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't suck the magic out of her cock to make it vanish. You devils do have that ability, but it's permanent now. Rias should have read the instructions carefully, but still, oh well. Naruto knew of their biology enough to know how they could drain energy by sucking it out through their mouths and sex organs. It would be easy for Akino to help Rias manage her new problem. Then again, I'm not a potion maker, and I'm kind of dumb, but I know my mother well enough. She really put emphasis on the 3 drops part, and the only ever part Naruto pointed out. Akino blushed when she realized what Naruto casually suggested. Oh, come on now, Riser, don't you like my naked body? Riser came running back into the room but naked, having taken no time to get naked for Rias. He had his clothes in his arms as he ran to the magic circle out of the room. Fuck no, the Riser does not enjoy this. Riser will not be pegged by your girl cock. Riser will not allow that monster in his harem. Riser was so scared that he was speaking in third person. The magical circle lit up, and Rias calmly walked into the room with her clothes back on. She had a smirk on her face. She smiled more gracefully. But Riser, my future husband, how can we be married if you can't accept all of me? We will not be married. Riser Phoenix will not become the bottom in any relationship. Wimp. Naruto stated as Riser teleported out of the room. With Riser gone, Rias let out a breath of pure relief. She smiled and sat back on the couch. Can't even handle a what was the word? Naruto asked Rias with a raised eyebrow. Futanari. That is such a weird word. Oh well, looks like you and Akino are about to have a completely different kind of relationship from now on. Naruto summarized for Rias without mentioning what he meant. Akino had red cheeks as she thought about what she had been placed in a position to do. Rias was confused. What? You screwed up. Now you have a penis forever, but thankfully Akino can suck the magic from your dick whenever it grows back. Naruto stated plainly, and clearly to Rias so that she knew exactly what he was talking about now. Rias looked at him with a blank stare. Well, I've solved the problem with Riser, so I'll take the good with the bad. Having a penis is a lot better than being married to a man I don't love. Rias crossed her arms under her chest. It sounded like they could at least manage the problem, and she doubted this would put that much strain on her life. Are you sure it's permanent? Rias wanted to make absolutely sure, so she asked for confirmation. If it doesn't fade in 12 hours, then you better have Akino get to sucking. By the way, I'm not able to help you with that. Since I can't suck the magic out, and I don't know how to make a cure, I won't be able to help. Don't worry, I'll be happy to help you. Akino confirmed for Rias with a smile on her face, though it was a strained smile. She had to be honest. She never thought she would ever be put in the position that she was now in, where she was going to have to suck her female best friend's penis in order to get it to turn back into a vagina. Oh, your mother. She makes all of her potions like this. She's evil for a reason. You're a devil. But if you make a deal with my mother, she will always and forever grant you your wish in a way that will punish you like a monkey's paw or a rainy devil. It's a bad habit she had. Naruto explained to her, since he knew that his mother was a prankster down to her core. She could never resist the urge to make people pay for coming to her for help. If you wanted a potion to grow your hair out, she would give you a potion that did that. It would do exactly what you wanted, but it would come at a cost. The potion would give you hair, but no doubt it would make you grow super thick hair over your entire body after a certain amount of time had passed. Or it would make the hair grow in an uncontrolled way, so that you could never enjoy it. Only 3 people were immune to her asshole potion making: his father, his grandmother, and him. He had kind of a messed up childhood home because of what his parents did for a living. Hot damn, that boy has got to be a half-breed, because that ain't Japanese right there. Look at him, Naruto, that guy has a 24.5 centimeters right there. Don't really care about the baseball team's dick sizes. Naruto stated as he hung out with Aika, going over scientific formulas with her. She wanted to study with him here though so that she could get eye candy in the form of the sweat baseball team as they practiced for an upcoming game they had with another school. Velocity formulas and inertia formulas, Naruto stated with a frown. That was part of the reason he was wasting so much magic with his fireballs. Because he was only using the science in creating the fire, and he was completely using magic in order to launch it. That caused him to waste a lot of power that could be used to fuel the flames, or rather, it took the power from his flames, and used it to propel his fireballs. Velocity is equal to distance/time, and you need velocity to make the equations for inertia, which involves angular momentum and angular velocity. Aika explained as she returned to helping Naruto study the different sciences that he wanted to learn. She started to go over the different kinds of velocity with Naruto, and the different kinds of formulas needed to figure out each kind of velocity, and how it related to inertia. She wondered why he wanted to learn this stuff, when it wasn't required for school in the slightest. It was kind of strange how he wanted to keep learning these different things, but none of them seemed to apply to what he wanted to do in the future. Oh well, he was a cutie, so she would let it slide. Most guys avoided her like the plague because she was an open pervert, and could measure their dicks through their clothes. Look out! Naruto lifted up a finger when he noticed a baseball coming right at his face at a high speed, and he looked at the speed it was traveling. When it got 5 feet away from his face, Aika tilted her head when she saw the baseball slow down a small amount out of nowhere. Conk! Naruto was still knocked onto his back when he got hit right dead center in the forehead by the ball. He had used wind magic to slow the speed of the ball, but he made sure it would still hit him. I see, so controlling speed and direction using velocity formulas and inertia formulas can reduce the amount of magic consumed. Naruto had wanted to test his theory out, but he had hoped that it would hurt a lot less. Oh crap. Naruto, are you okay? Naruto sat up and rubbed his forehead. Aoi, let's get back to studying. Naruto picked up the baseball, and he did some mental calculations. A small amount of space appeared between his hand and the baseball, creating a cushion of sorts. Naruto surrounded the ball with his wind elemental magic, something invisible to the naked eye normally, and he went through all of the conditions needed. Here, Naruto called out to the baseball team. He threw the ball. Using his wind magic, Naruto controlled the speed and power behind the ball, sending it zooming across the field. He knocked the baseball team member that caught the ball off his balance. Nice throw, you got a really good throwing arm on you. Aika watched as the baseball team stared over at Naruto with a lot of surprise, since he had just thrown the ball a lot faster than their pitcher threw it. They had stopped practice and were huddling up together, while Naruto just went back to studying with a confused look on his face. It seemed he found something he was having trouble with. Seems I'm missing something. I did just reduce the magic consumed by that spell by over 20%, but my control was a little shaky. I guess I need calculation practice, and practicing using it quickly. Naruto had still wasted a lot of magic with his spell, but overall his results were better than he expected them to be. It would seem that using magic alone to control the way his magic moved around really was one of the reasons he wasted so much magic with all of his spells. The list of things that went into magic was not a small list. Now he needed to utilize scientific formula and molecular structure in order to create elements, and now he needed to memorize how to control them using direction-changing formulas, inertia formulas, and velocity formulas. He also needed to memorize each magical circle more accurately, and incorporate the new formulas he learned into those magic circles. Hey Uzumaki-chan, do you want to join the baseball team as a pitcher? I'm not much of a pitcher, more of a catcher. Naruto made a sly joke without even looking up. Whatever it took to get these people to leave him alone so that he could get stronger with magic, and raise his magical rank higher and higher. Aika blinked. Oh hee-hey, okay hee-hey. Aika started to lose it when she got the joke. Oh, with an arm like that, you're an awesome pitcher. Your throw almost broke my hand when I caught it. If anything, our catcher will have trouble with a pitcher like you. Why don't you give the baseball team a try? I could use this as a chance to practice, but it's too annoying. I should just get them to stop with this now. Naruto thought to himself as he stood up. Naruto looked forward, and saw that he needed to look up. He hated his new short stature a lot, because he used to be taller than this guy. He missed the days when he was 180 centimeters tall. He measured himself, and now he was 146 centimeters tall asterisk. And he damn hated that he was as short as he was when he was a kid. Now because of his frame and his height people confused him for a short, petite girl so much that it was crazy. Please, and with your height, your strike zone is very small, you're perfect for our team. You'll be our tiny spiraling terror with your insane fast spinning pitches. Naruto punched him in the dick, not the balls, just the dick. He still collapsed onto the ground though, and with that Naruto grabbed his stuff and started to walk away. Aika was still on the ground dying from laughter that only got more intense when she watched Naruto punch the captain of the baseball team in the junk for stupid nickname that he had been given. Naruto was already long gone by the time that Aika recovered, but she stood up and gathered her own things, before she chased after him. Phew, Naruto, you're going to kill me, that was too funny. I'm going to watch the kendo girls practice and study there, you can come if you want. Naruto told her with a side glance. Later, the movement is very firm, and their legs are set in a good form, Naruto thought to himself as he drew the girls' body anatomy, and the motions they were going through. He memorized their stances and their footwork with each strike they practiced with each other. Why was he doing this would be what those not aware of his goal could ask themselves. But Naruto didn't concern himself with others' opinions. Aika was curious about it anyway. He's putting in a ton of effort into memorizing their feet, as if he wanted to learn kendo. But he doesn't care about kendo, I really don't know how to read him. Aika was just confused. Hey Naruto-chan, do you want to do a practice match with us? Murayama asked as she came forward. The club was fine with Naruto watching, since he wasn't peeping at them or being a pervert. He seemed to be interested in kendo itself. Aika watched as Naruto raised an eyebrow, before he stood up and nodded his head. Sure, really? Aika was just shocked when she saw Naruto agree, so the girls of the kendo club got Naruto some light body armor, and gave him a sword to practice with. Naruto walked up and stood across from Murayama, and he placed his feet in the same position that she had done earlier. Staying firm with your feet can help with gaining a stronger connection with earth element magic, but allowing for smooth and fluid movement of body can strengthen a connection to the element of water. Naruto thought to himself as he settled into a stance. Okay, you can start when ready. Murayama swung her shurnai at Naruto, and he curved his arms upwards. His shurnai knocked her weapon to the side, and he pushed it so that the tip was touching the floor. Naruto firmly moved his lower body forward by taking a single step, and with a smooth motion of his upper body he allowed her to try and pull back her weapon. As she was pulling it back, he swung and hit her in the side of the helmet with the shurnai. Murayama stepped back purely out of surprise. Aika's jaw was just dropped. Was he a kendo genius? Have you ever done kendo before? Murayama asked Naruto as she stepped back, and took up her stance again. She was surprised that he struck her like he did. She shouldn't have gone easy on him though. It would seem that he had experience with the sport. No. You're a genius then? Murayama asked as she put her all into facing him for a second round. Naruto moved his lower body like water and slid out of the range of her weapon, keeping his upper body firm as he struck her shurnai. The shock went up the weapon, and she let go of it for a second. Naruto switched his stance and firmly stood in place, and smoothly moved his waist and hips, striking Murayama in the side. Genius? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Everyone knew he was an idiot, right? Yeah, if this is your first time, then what you're doing now just shows you might be a kendo genius. Murayama got ready for another round with Naruto. She lost again. Naruto bowed to her as he took off the equipment strapped to him, before he grabbed his stuff. He didn't say another word after that and just left the club, now that he had what he needed. He learned their stances with his body, and now he had no need to watch them at their current skill level. Until he could see firmer stances and more fluid movements, there was no reason for him to watch any of these girls. I should test to see if these stances can help me control Earth better. I hope I didn't just waste my time with kendo for nothing. Naruto just wanted to get better at magic. You totally lied to her. You're a secret master of kendo, aren't you? Aika nudged Naruto, following quickly after him. He just stared at her. I didn't lie. I mean, technically I did used to work out with my family a lot. Naruto stated to her. Aika blinked. So he had so much talent, but didn't care to go further with it. A dick. Surzek spewed the air from his lungs when his sister told him how she managed to get Riser to cancel the marriage between them. Nobody in the family had been informed of just how it happened, so he came to investigate it on his own. Surzek had been shocked to see the results of Rias messing up her body with a potion from a now-dead witch. He was already going through his head to make a list of the possible ways to fix this. Yes, but thankfully Akino has been taking care of it. Sucking the magic out of it returns it to normal for a small amount of time. Rias assured her brother that she was fine. She was getting used to having a dick at random times, though she always woke up with one now. It seemed like the magic came back in her sleep, so she needed Akino to take care of her problem every morning. It's okay, I did this to myself. Rias calmed her brother down. Because she's an idiot, and you must be Naruto-chan? Surzek questioningly stated. Call me whatever, he's the guy? Surzek asked Rias as he gestured to Naruto eating from a cup of noodles. He was just sitting in the room, and he raised a hand to wave to them. He didn't particularly care about what was going on, but Rias wanted him to meet her brother. Hello Naruto, I'm Surzex Lucifer, Rias' elder brother. It's a pleasure to meet you. Can you explain how this potion works, and how it can be fixed? Surzex extended a hand to Naruto. Naruto shook his head. She overdosed on the potion, now she has a permadic, there isn't any fixing it, just treating it so it's not a problem. Besides, with how big she is, she can now live out every girl's dream of fucking their brother's ass. Naruto deadpanned as he slurped up some noodles. Surzex but clenched. He's just joking, he's grumpy right now. Rias put her hand on top of Naruto's head and rubbed it. Surzex's response of a sigh of relief was good to hear. But Naruto on the other hand just looked at the maid that was standing behind Surzex, standing there quietly since she had yet to be addressed. You need to stop eating those, they aren't healthy. Why don't you wait until dinner? I want to cook tonight. Rias tried to wipe broth from Naruto's face, but he licked it from his cheeks before she could manage. Naruto stared at Grafia and made eye contact with her. Who is the sexy maid? My wife, Grafia, isn't she beautiful? Surzex bragged about his wife at the question. He got his cheek pinched for the statement by Grafia. She had red cheeks from the surprise compliments, but then went back to a rather neutral expression. Top class maid? Maid clothes are sexy, so you're Rias' older brother and you're in a position of great power. Why didn't you stop Rias from being forced into marriage? Naruto asked Surzex with a tilted head. This entire mess could have been avoided and Surzex just used his authority to null the entire agreement. Surzex started to sweat a little. I mean, the politics of it isn't that simple. I can't just abuse my power. Surzex reasoned out. Naruto raised an eyebrow. You love your sister a lot, and Riser would have married into the Gremry and gained control over the Gremry family, which includes your own children to some degree. It can be argued that this political marriage has an undertone of subterfuge in order to gain control over you, thus by stopping the marriage you cancel out potential political power grabs that a single family would have over you. Naruto asked with his other eyebrow raising up. Surzex's jaw dropped when he heard a way that he could have saved Rias, while also maintaining his position without abusing his power in a way that could cause unrest. Naruto literally just laid his faults out in front of him, not caring about his position at all. Oh well, I guess Rias having a dick now is partially your fault, and blame falls to your parents as well, mostly your parents. They could have seen that Rias was desperate to end the marriage, that she wasn't willing at all. Of course, I bet they were prideful and wanted to save face, or they were greedy and wanted pure-blooded grandchildren. Naruto started to lay out all of their flaws out on the table. Grafia couldn't hide her snort very well when she saw this spelled out for everyone, while Rias just covered her mouth as she composed herself. Surzex took all of Naruto's words though, and was put into a place where he was forced to realize that the only people to blame for Rias doing this to herself were her family. I'm sorry Rias. Don't apologize to her. Rias is the idiot that didn't ask me about the instructions before she overdosed. I don't know crap about potion making, but I know my insane madwoman of a mother well enough to know that she's an absolute demon at contracts. Naruto wasn't trying to make any one party feel worse than the other. Rias tilted her head to the side in understanding, knowing that she was just as much to blame for her current body change as the rest of her family. Well, have your tests been going well, Rias? Surzex changed the subject as he sat down with his sister. Naruto stood up and left the room. At the student council room, later. So help me learn water magic better, since you're a Citri. You wish for me to teach you water magic for nothing? Sona Citri asked as she looked at Naruto sitting before her. She was playing chess with Naruto, and the match was going on for a long time. Each move was taking about 3 minutes for her to plan out against this unsuspecting opponent. Hard to believe he had never played chess before, and only ever played the Japanese equivalent of it. Nothing, I just don't know what you want. I don't have a lot of money, but I can pay with my body. If you need any manual labor done, I'll do it. Honestly, I don't care too much about what you have me do. Naruto wasn't going to ask her for lessons when he wasn't going to give her anything. Akino is very good at water magic, I'm sure that she could teach you. She's also a sadist, and I'm a budding masochist. I'm afraid that she is going to use lessons as a chance to awaken my masochism even more. I want to avoid being pegged by her if I can. Naruto wasn't ready for any of that kind of stuff, even if his dreams were getting weird. It would take lessons from Akino if he had to, but he wanted to take as few of those as he could. I'm becoming perverted. At this rate I'm afraid I'll be surrounded by women that are going to dominate me. Naruto deadpanned. Sona raised an eyebrow. You're very open about your fears, but I can understand not wanting to be humiliated. Well, that is a very good move. Sona pointed out when she was placed in check. She moved herself out of it though after several minutes of thought. Both of them had very few pieces left. No, the problem is that I want to be dominated and humiliated. I'm afraid of becoming more perverted than I already am. I think we're at a stalemate, Naruto pointed out as he gestured to the board. He had just taken out her queen, and now they only have their kings and a pawn each. The pawns would get taken out by the kings before they could cross the board, which meant that soon enough it would be just their kings. Sona looked at the board and agreed. Yes, I think we are. This is your first time playing, right? Sona asked for confirmation, since Naruto had not used any of the advanced chess moves. He was only using basic moves, and he would copy her advanced moves only after he had seen her do them. It was a long game for a reason. Also, if you want to be dominated and humiliated, then why are you afraid of being perverted? Sona was against perverts on some level, but she wasn't going to say people should deny all of their desires. She watched as Naruto put very little thought into the answer, because before recently, I didn't have these thoughts. I didn't wish to be used as a chair by a woman, or have a girl stronger than me just step all over me as she mocks me. It's already scary that I'm only a little embarrassed to talk about this. I want to avoid acting on these desires. That's unhealthy too. If you don't act on them at least a little, then you're going to get penned up. I say you should go learn from Akino to safely. I see you're in a very bad situation then. Sona stated when she realized what Naruto had an issue with. He wasn't afraid of what desires he had exactly. He was afraid of the fact that the people around him could push him into even more perverted territory. By the way, I swore to marry the man who defeated me in a battle of intelligence. Involving chess. I'm going to warn you about that now if you want to play another round. Sona didn't believe a human could beat her, so she didn't bother warning Naruto before. Now that he had forced her to a draw on his very first game, she felt the need to warn him of her own situation. It was only fair and honest of her to give him the chance to know, and so that if he won, she wasn't going to spring the truth on him. That is stupid. Yes, I agree with that. No, I mean that is really stupid. Why even bother? Just find a guy you love and say he beat you. Stop playing chess until you find a dude you're in love with, and let him win if you need to lose. Naruto complained about the annoying rules that these devils seemed to make for themselves. They were supposed to be chaotic, but it seemed that devils were the species that had the most rules to decide how they lived their lives. Sona looked at Naruto for a second, and she thought his words over. Yes, that does make sense. You know, I'm not Akino. I can help you release some of your pent-up desires, without going overboard. I'm not going to teach you my family magic though. The price you're going to pay isn't enough for that. If it's only spanking and using you as a chair, I think I can manage. Naruto deadpan just stared at her. That isn't what I came here for. Well, it's the deal I'm prepared to make with you. That's hot, Naruto thought in a dull way when he felt Sona take control of the situation. He thought about her offer for a second, and realized that he could still benefit from it. No thank you. Naruto stood up and left the room. He wasn't perverted enough to agree to a deal like that just yet, no matter how much he wanted to. Hehehe. That giggle never means anything good for me. I'm going to just go that way now. Naruto got up with a deadpan, knowing that Aika was scheming something if she was giving off that creepy laugh now of all times. He learned, if she laughed within 30 seconds of the two of them hanging out, then he was in for a headache. Wait, no, I'm not plotting anything that would make you blush. I said nothing about that, and I seriously doubt you could make me blush so easily. That first day was just a fluke. Naruto had blushed because she had given him a surprise dick measuring, something he had been too afraid to do himself. Now he was used to his smaller size, and felt only a small amount of shame in how he had lost out on the meat he had been packing. Trapification has done me nothing but bad things, even taking away my size there. Naruto ignored Aika as she wrapped her arms around his shoulders from behind. She liked to try and get him to blush, but he just needed her help to find the stuff he needed to practice with at a store. He wasn't an expert in shopping, so having a girl that was not Rias or Akino would be a great help. Rias because dealing with a girl that was adjusting to her own body changes was an annoyance for him. You hang out with Rias Gremory a lot. You're in the same club. Has she seemed off to you? Aika whispered to Naruto with a tone that suggested curiosity. Her scouter had picked up sizes for Rias. Her dick measuring scouter had picked up a well-endowed size for a woman, which was shocking because with tits that big, she was sure that Rias was not a dude in disguise. It was just one day her scouter gave no measurements, but sometimes she would suddenly gain a size, before it went away when she visited the bathroom with Akino during the afternoon. It was just weird on all accounts since a dick did not just appear and disappear like magic. She always seems off. That's kind of rude. Anyone that can easily accept the story of a manly man turning into a femboy trap is missing a screw in their head, and she's accepted that story just like you have. Naruto deadpanned at least one reason why Rias was an off person. He hated the fact that he, an extremely abnormal person by both birth and condition, was surrounded by people who were even stranger than he was. Aika, a perverted girl with glasses, and the ability to look at anything with a penis and give an exact part measurement. Rias, a devil girl who broke off an engagement by making a deal with his mother, but did not read the instructions properly, and was now a part-time futanari for whenever Akino wasn't able to deal with her situation. Akino, a sadomasochistic woman. Enough said. I mean, those kinds of things just happen, right? Boys waking up as girls sometimes in manga, or people switching bodies and being forced to live as each other. Those manga tropes used to be very popular at one point. Aika lectured Naruto. He gave her a look of pity, as if she were an idiot, which was incorrect. She was an extremely intelligent girl, but it would seem his situation was enough to shake her grasp on reality. He almost felt like her loose hold of what was real might be partially to blame, but if she was this easily shaken, then he refused to take more than partial credit. Also, why are you wearing neutral clothes? You're not wearing girl clothes today. Because, despite my looks and size, I am still a boy. I like cute clothes, but I'm not perverted enough to wear nothing but girly stuff. Now, are you going to help me with this or not? Naruto asked as he walked straight into a store that sold magic supplies. The supplies came across as extremely normal at first glance. It was just an element store, where you could buy iron or calcium, magnesium and the like. You could purchase raw ingredients, which was great practice material for him. Fine, but you owe me. Come here, big girl, and give me what I'm asking for. Naruto ran a hand underneath her jawline, and in an instant she locked eyes with his bedroom eyes. He upturned them slightly, and gave her a quivering lip. Her jaw dropped, before she looked at the list of supplies that he gave for her. In 20 minutes they were out of the store with everything he needed to continue his practice, and her face was burning red from his flirting. He had a slight smirk on his face, but that was about it for his victory. She was in a seduced daze, one that just followed him around now that her job was done. Hoo-ha, where when what that face? Aika snapped out of her daze much later. She snapped out of it after visiting 4 different stores with him, and now he had everything he needed to continue the next stage of what he was working on. They were already on the walk to get a bite to eat, before parting ways. Don't ruin the silence. Huh, but you just made the sexiest how did you seduce me? I'm not even mad, you've got to teach me how to do that. Aika wasn't even mad that she just spent so much money that she had been saving up. She was mad that Naruto wasn't teaching her the seduction technique that he had used to make her do it. That was almost like magic. It was like 1 second we were talking, then the next I was doing what you wanted. Magic is used for more important things than that. You're a pervert, and perverts are easily influenced by their lust. All I did was stroke your lustful side, and your brain tried to do whatever it took to get into my pants. Simple as that. It's not that hard when you were born with a fox face. Naruto gestured to his cheeks, which enhanced his seduction skills above the average level. He looked at Aika, before he put a smile on his face and closed his eyes. Then, he very slightly opened one of his eyes so that Aika could see a blue shine in them, and he heated up his own cheeks with his imagination. He put a bashful confidence on his face, but with a slight aura of sly intelligence. Wow! He instantly switched by to deadpan. Seduction is boring though. There are things. Naruto paused when he noticed a rock get tossed at an animal, hearing the barking of a small dog. Hee, stupid mutt, jerks. Aika puffed her chest out. Sleep. Naruto pointed a hand at her face silently, and she just fell asleep instantly. Naruto just walked over to the small dog that tried to avoid the rocks being thrown at it. He picked up the dog and placed it on top of Aika's small chest, before patting its head in a comforting way. Hey asshats, pick on somebody that can fight back. Naruto counted 2 boys, both about 20 to 22 years old. He didn't call them men, because men didn't go around throwing rocks at puppies. He stared them down, and narrowed his eyes. They had an extremely low magic resistance. Some little bitch is going to. It's not even worth it. Let's get out of here. They didn't stay and fight, they just turned around and started to walk away. Naruto was left slightly stunned when he saw 2 delinquents just walking away from a fight. Her friend passed out looking at us. Real pathetic, not worth our time, bro. Whatever, Naruto mumbled as he waved a hand, and Aika started to stir from her sleep, the puppy having gotten off of her and run away already. His face showed his disappointment at not getting a fight out of those guys. He really just wanted to take his frustrations out on somebody, and those guys seemed like the perfect target for his repressed rage. He couldn't attack them if they didn't attack him first though. I didn't want to fight that much anyway. It wasn't like he wanted to test how weak or strong his body was, and see if he could secretly use magic in battle if he looked like he was going to lose the fist fight. What did I pass out? Naruto grabbed his face, biting his lower lip as he held back his rage. He glared at the backs of the boys walking away, biting his lip hard enough to draw blood. He didn't answer Aika right away, but he took a deep breath and pushed his anger and rage back down inside of himself, bottling it up as he put a deadpan expression back on his face. Aika didn't deserve his anger. Yeah, those guys scared you, you passed out. They don't want to fight though, let's just get out of here. Naruto spat some of his blood out of his mouth and into the street. He started to walk away and wiped his lip, the wound already healing up nicely. Aika blinked when she saw a glitter of gold on the street, but she didn't pay a lot of attention as she grabbed her stuff off the ground to follow after Naruto. So, can you teach me how to be sexy, like really sexy and seductive? Why do you want to know? Because, with your skills I could snatch any good-looking boy I want. Aika proudly proclaimed to the world, with Naruto just staring at her. He had already finished bottling up his feelings, so he was more neutral towards her wish. Slut? Because I'm a girl wanting to bang multiple people? Being a girl has nothing to do with it. Making it a goal to sleep with multiple people makes anyone a slut. Anyway, how do I benefit from teaching you how to seduce people? Naruto didn't see where he got anything out of this. Aika grabbed a hold of him, before she licked the side of his face, knowing full well that he didn't care. Gross. Imagine, once I become super popular with boys, I'll get really good with my skills and then I can make it up to you in the future. I can take your cute trap body for a ride. Aika tried to whisper to him, she even blew in his ear. He just ignored her and started to walk again, not bothering to even get pissed that she licked his face or blew in his ear. Naruto rolled his eyes when she whimpered, because she seemed to think that her whimpering would get him to give her the seduction lessons she so craved. Pro tip, even guys can get turned off by women who come across as too perverted. That is lesson 1, and lesson 2 is for when I feel like telling you. Naruto closed off his ears to her complaints, not paying her much attention. He had to maintain control, because his bottled-up emotions were still boiling inside of him. He had unbottled them so that he could unleash them, but he had been forced to bottle them back up. He needed to find a way to release some of this emotion. It was not good for his magical ability to bottle his emotions up. Grah! The next level of water magic was much too hard for him to master. As much as he didn't like it, he didn't know how to proceed with his practice. He had tried many things, but he was just wasting way too much magic with each water element spell he cast. More than 70% of the magic was being wasted, and Akino wasn't going to give him any tips unless he let her tie him up. Akino was getting sexually frustrated at being somewhat forced into giving Rias almost daily blowjobs just to suck the magic out of her cock. He did not want to risk her taking her sexual frustration out on him with her tips. He didn't feel like getting anal from Akino. Hiya, is this the end for my water magic, or am I going to have to damn it lesser of two evils? Naruto flopped onto his belly, and just laid there in frustration for a few moments. He didn't even have a phone at the moment to contact anyone. The one he did have got destroyed during his lightning magic training by mistake, and he was waiting for a new one. Sona or Akino Aika doesn't know about magic, and I don't know how to hide this level of advice from her. Rias is being super clingy. Naruto was debating everything mentally. He could not use Rias or Aika at the moment, not with how clingy the redhead was and how ignorant the normal human was. Akino walked into the room. Hello, how is your training going? Do you need my help in any way? Akino licked her lips, as if to prove a point to him. Naruto sat up. And if I did, what would you do to me? The best way to learn would be to punish you just a little every time you failed, and reward your success. You know, I've gotten quite good with my mouth, but my hands are also very good. Zap. Akino made a slapping motion. She would blow him on success, and spank him with electricity on failure. Nope. The next day. Is the offer still open? Naruto had burning red cheeks as he approached Sona, knowing that at least she wasn't going to give him a lightning spank if he failed under her tutorship. Naruto had burning red cheeks, since what Sona was going to do wasn't going to be much better. She looked at him for several moments, before she raised an eyebrow. Naruto approached her at her apartment to see if her lesson offer was still open. She didn't say a word, just gestured for him to come inside her apartment. She gave Naruto a good view of everything, and he saw many different books on many subjects. Most of them weren't magic, but were just novels. She liked to read, which was a normal hobby, and it seemed she also collected several unique objects he couldn't quite identify. She had books on medicine and medical treatments, and finally, he noticed that she seemed to be studying school systems. Are you studying for becoming a teacher? It's complicated, please have a seat. I was in the middle of brewing some coffee. I'll pour you a cup as well. Yes, my offer is still open. Sona left to go get the coffee. Naruto sat alone. When Sona came back, he noticed that she was wearing a slightly shorter skirt than before, her panties now more easily visible. He said nothing about her changing skirts, but she sat down in front of him and placed teacups filled with fresh brewed coffee between them. She sipped from Heire's and pointed a finger at Naruto's coffee cup. The coffee floated out of the cup before dropping back down into the cup perfectly, not spilling even a single drop. So why change your mind? Sona asked the question. She wasn't even curious about why he changed his mind, but she wanted to know if he really wanted to learn, or if he just awakened to the idea of her using him as a chair. She was fine with either answer, but she wanted to know what she should focus on more. I've hit a roadblock. My control over water magic is getting worse. I just improved my earth magic, and now my water magic control is crap. Naruto gripped his fists in frustration. When he improved in one area of magic, he seemed to grow even worse in another area. You're out of balance. If this is about my pent of masochist nature, you're magically out of balance. Most people learn magics that complement each other, but earth and water have the exact opposite flows, similar to how wind and fire have opposite flows. If you get better at one, you get worse at the other unless you find balance. Sona just stated the facts. Earth magic needs a strong will, while water magic is more willing to bend. You're becoming more spiritually stubborn. Magic is a reflection of our state of mind, so you've got to become more willing to bend. Sona explained what was wrong with him, something she could tell at just a glance. Naruto blinked. That makes sense. Regardless, you agreeing to the deal means I get to punish you. So I don't have to hide my intentions for that. If you're serious about learning, I will give you a serious explanation. Sona stated with a lean of her body, moving forward slightly. She looked at Naruto, and she watched the flow of magic inside of his body. Yes, you're bottling up quite a lot of things. Your control over earth magic will continue to improve, but eventually you'll lose the ability to use water magic completely. Naruto was startled, standing up sharply. Not that. Our magic is an extension of us. For devils, imagination is the key to magic, but the fact is we can only really imagine what is key to who we are. My magic is very controlled, but despite it all, I am very willing to bend where needed. I adapt to every situation. Your magic is all over the place, so your control will be in constant flux until you learn to change your magical attributes. Now please sit down. Okay, not in the chair, sit on the table in front of me. Sona lifted her coffee cup off of the table. It has to do with your magic. Your magic is related to your mental state, and your willpower is extremely strong, so discard it. Sona stared Naruto in the eyes as he sat down right in front of her. She sat her cup down between his thighs. Discard my strong willpower? Naruto didn't want to do that. Yes, now Sona hooked her finger onto his shirt and pulled him lower. We're going to do some very basic training to make your willpower more bendable, Sona explained as she pulled Naruto off of the coffee table. He landed on his hands and legs in front of her. What are you? He came face to face with her panties. She stood up and took a step to the side. She grabbed a book from her shelf nearby, before she returned to where she was. Instead of sitting down on her chair though, she sat down on his back. She moved her coffee cup so that it was on his butt, and she just opened her book and started to read. Naruto's face turned red. I'm going to read for a little bit. I might randomly spank you when I feel like it. When I do, just thank me for it. We will stop after I spank you 500 times in total, maybe more, Sona stated as she opened her book. How does this thank you? Sona spanked him right when he opened his mouth to talk, and he shouted out his thanks, before he glanced up at her. How does this help me? It doesn't, this is just part of the deal. The training to make your willpower more bendable will take place after I'm done here. Sona reached down and grabbed the spot that she spanked. Quite plump here. Shut up. Smack. Don't tell your master to shut up, it's very rude. Anyway, after we raise your affinity with water, I'll teach you some decent water spells as well. Well? Sona asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Thank you? For what? Thank you for spanking me. Naruto's face was still burning red. Since he was wearing shorts, Sona pulled down his shorts from where she was and his panties with it. She raised an eyebrow at that, and she smirked. Why are you pulling them down? Naruto asked her. He didn't like how he liked this treatment. Why are you wearing girls' clothes? I noticed these are girl shorts. Sona punctuated her sentence with a spank. I don't know, thank you. The way she spanked him wasn't electric, but the way he could hear her smacking him right after he felt it. She put enough pressure to make it sting, but she didn't make it agonizing. He hated the fact that he could feel himself jiggle, because his once rock-hard buns had been replaced by the soft ass of a trap. Her ass is really soft, and she doesn't weight that much, but my arms are still. Why am I so damn weak now? Naruto grit his teeth. So what is this training? Thank you, Naruto whispered. Because he opened his mouth, she spanked him again. Sona was enjoying herself a little. It felt nice to have actual control for once. She was so used to everything being chaos with her family and personal life. She still shook her head moments later and gathered her thoughts. It's simple actually, we just need to teach you how to be more bending with your thought process. It's not something that is easy to do by yourself though. Now what do we say? Sona smiled when she heard the sound of flesh hitting flesh. Thank you. It was 21 minutes later before Naruto's arms gave out with her on top of him. She was able to react quick enough to stand up, but her coffee, now cold, spilled all over Naruto. She saw that she had spanked one of his butt cheeks into a bright red color, and Naruto was panting with a red face, his body shivering. Are you okay? Sona took a knee and got down next to Naruto. I'm fine, I can. No, we'll continue this another day. I might have been spanking you a little too hard. I got carried away. I apologize for not paying more attention to your limits. Here, let me help. Let me get you some cream. Sona got up and walked out of the room. You can use my shower. I'll get you a change of clothes. She saw Naruto standing up. I almost came? What was that? Sona had heard his whisper, but she would pretend that she didn't hear his words. She had known that she had made him come near the end, which was what caused him to lose control of his focus in being her chair. It would seem that Naruto himself was only now realizing that was what made him collapse the way that he did. She glanced back at him, and she saw that the shade of red his face was turning put his previous faces to shame. She puffed her puny little chest out in pride. She frowned moments later when she realized he seems mortified by his own words, and he rushed to the bathroom to get cleaned up. He was still resisting everything and bottling up his emotions and desires. Sorry Rias, it didn't work this time, Sona. Sending a text to Rias, she sighed at the lack of progress the magical ticking time bomb of emotion was making. Still, she did see that when he was distracted from magic by something else, that his emotions seemed to come out much easier. He was using magic as an emotional crutch. He didn't have to feel his emotions if never got the chance to think about himself.